recap, you have been coerced. Let's not mince words. You've been coerced into climbing all the way to the top of the new Araya Archon Corporation headquarters in Los Angeles because Emil Archon, the head of the corporation, and a bunch of VIPs, some of his closest friends from around the world, decided to lock themselves away here for a few days of a little R&R, you know, little orgy action, little occult ritual action, a little murder, you know, like as corporate VIPs do. And this time it didn't quite turn out the way they thought it would. And after scenes of horrible murder and madness appeared on security cameras, everyone disappeared. And so the people who are sort of running things behind the scene here are kind of worried about what the shareholders are going to say, because shareholders will accept a lot as long as the profits run in. But mass murders and occult rituals are usually a little frowned upon. So they sent a group of specialists into the building to try and figure out what happened. When these specialists entered the building, they discovered a young woman, very afraid, who was being pursued by a bunch of weird-looking figures in FedEx delivery man outfits, who turned out to be some sort of weird monsters whose skin was hanging off their face. You fought them off, managed to eliminate them, and then found out that this young woman that was there was none other than Kirsty Archon, Emil Archon's niece. You continued your exploration of, for now, 2 floors. You've done floor 48 and floor 49 of the corporation, having discovered that there's definitely something weird going on, because in certain places there appears to be nothing, but then some of you will see horrific things that appear to be maybe hidden behind some sort of illusion or something like that. And the elevator ride upstairs to the 49th floor was a bit of a harrowing adventure for some of you. On the 49th floor, you discovered all sorts of nasty business, including the fact that apparently Emil Archon's office now just really doesn't care about the laws of, physics. And instead of a nice, tidy corporate office, there is a huge hall with dark columns and a black throne at one end. You have discovered a host of other things, including the fact that Emil Archon and his gang were apparently in the process of doing some sort of ritual that would perhaps open some door to another world that Emil wanted to reach out to. You discovered that he had found ways to perhaps inscribe rituals in people's flesh, so on and so forth. So you're not too sure where that's going to lead you, but that's a discovery you made last time. And you also discovered that the computer artificial intelligence that runs the headquarters, called Hera, likes to talk to Dr. LeVay and tantalize him with scenes from his dubious scientific pursuits. And as the lot of you are really clutching at the frayed ends of sanity, dealing with all of this, we open with the group of you on the 49th floor in the executive offices. You have seen many a disturbing sight here, including the fact that it appears that the companions of the VIPs that were here have all been killed in some way, shape, or form. Some of them were trying to escape. Others were just placed in weird positions. For example, you found 2 men that had been stripped naked and bound to one another with wires, and very grotesque statue representing a headless Vitruvian man had been left in the main reception area. And this, of course, tied into Emil Archon's obsession with the French philosopher Georges Bataille, who he believed, could see a world that existed beyond the one that we live in, but failed to reach it because him and his goons were not as single-minded in their pursuit as Emil Archon and his chosen were. So when we open tonight, you have found yourselves now on the 49th floor in the executive offices. You have found this strange flesh sculpture of the headless Vitruvian man. You have found the throne room where Emil Archon's office was supposed to be. You have been hearing Emil Archon's voice as Hera has apparently taken it upon itself to play back recordings. Whether or not Archon was aware of these recordings or not, it's not very clear, but you've been hearing some recordings that included him admitting to having first killed Kirsty's sister Julia when she was young as a sacrifice to something called Kether, and that in exchange for this, Kether had gifted him a mask that allowed him to see through the illusion, as he called it. And then later, Kether had demanded that he sacrifice his brother and his wife, who she said were agents of something called Malkuth. And that in doing so, he had gained admittance into this other realm, this citadel of Kether, although to get there, he had to go through this very complex investigation, tracking down several books and works of arts that eventually led to him discovering some address and emplacement of some club called Club Prosperos, through which he had apparently gained access to the citadel of Kether. Now, you're not too sure exactly what all that's about, but you got all that information. And it also became clear in the end that he intended to sacrifice his final niece, Kirsty, in order to create a portal in this building so that this building would serve as a permanent portal into this other world past this illusion. What the rest of you don't know, but what Kirsty found out at the end of last session is that before she was sacrificed, she, apparently possessed by the spirit of her dead sister, proceeded to massacre every member of the cult, killing them all. The bodies have yet to be found.
Oops.
But we don't know that yet.
You don't know that. Only Kirsty knows that. That was the last thing that we saw last time. So I will say that as last time, you were very much all kind of on the edge of losing your minds. Everyone had been everyone had been rolling really badly, and your keep it together rolls were not functioning. You will now have had a little bit of time to sort of calm down. David Hall and his security guys have taken down that headless Vitruvian man and moved the bodies away into an office so that it's not in plain sight of everyone and just sort of working on everyone. So they've removed that. The lot of you have found yourselves now not really daring perhaps to stay in that weird throne room, although perhaps Mr. Octavian Chase will have wanted to hang out there a little bit. But you've had some time to calm down a little bit. Miss Santorino and Crombie's character, whose name escapes me right now, McIntire, have been putting their heads together along with Davis Call and kind of trying to figure out what needs to happen next. And the current proposition is that you've come this far, you may as well go up to the last floor and see what is there. The way to access that is through the stairs that are over here. So you've overheard this at this point. So there are stairs staircase that lead there, and that's the only way to access the roof. You know that the pool is on the rooftop, as well as a security office. So you are, I will say, the three of you and Carla are sort of to the side a little bit, having calmed down, having gotten, perhaps something to drink from one of the bars to settle your nerves a little bit. And you've heard them discuss this, and they're clearly talking about, well, we've come this far, we still need to find what happened to Emil, So we're just going to take everyone and we're going to go upstairs and see what's what. So you're overhearing this. So I would like to give you now a moment as the three of you are hanging out together with Carla to perhaps see how you feel about that.
What I don't understand is whether or not this ritual was enacted or interrupted or is still in play somehow. I don't know about the two of you, but I get a very strange feeling that whatever Emil's endgame was, it has yet to be enacted. Perhaps still in the sense of actualization. Chase, what do you make of it? Is the essence still here? These things that we're seeing, are these remnants of something, or is this reality?
My dear doctor, it is reality itself that many believe is an illusion. I believe that what we are starting to perceive is perhaps the canvas upon which reality is painted. This is not looking into another reality. I believe it is looking into reality itself.
Yes.
Surely it's clear what I mean by this.
Not precisely clear, but I do get a sense that there is something beneath the surface, perhaps. Seeking to
that was in fact the canvas
itself.
Analogy I just made, my good doctor.
So I am understanding you then, which is a first.
I look at Kirsty for sympathy.
You notice when you look at Kirsty that she's just kind of standing there, like looking down at her hands, and the wheels are turning, and she's kind of breathing a little heavier than usual. But she doesn't even realize that you guys are talking or what you're talking about at this point.
Like, Octavian was legitimately looking for a lifeline, and so once he realizes that you're like not paying attention, he's all. And he turns back to the doctor and he says, "It appears as though our compatriots are suggesting that we go upstairs and see what the point, I believe, that this ritual was all about." And the one thing that concerns me is that in all of the images that we saw early on from the cameras, I recall that one of them was a lone trail of bloody footprints. I cannot begin to think what might have caused those footprints, but surely we must be on our guard.
I am concerned.
Perhaps it is still up there. Perhaps it is among us right now.
I feel as it is pervasive in this space, but there is no other way than to go up.
Yes. Then
Miss
you'll...
Miss Arcand.
What do you want? What?
Are you okay?
You know what? I just need a minute, okay? Just give me a minute. And she just kind of like walks off and disappears into one of the rooms off to the side. Is anyone gonna follow her?
Sure. I look at the doctor. I'm like, we should follow her.
As you
Very well.
walk into the office to the side, one of the rooms that had not been cleared already, you walk in and find, to your relief, amazement, there is what appears to be a large quantity of cocaine spread on the desk. When I say a large quantity, I mean a large quantity, like enough to get you a very long term in prison. And it is splayed out on this desk. and you can clearly see handprints in certain places, face print perhaps in one of them. And at this particular point, since I do have a hold on you for your addiction, your entire world narrows down, and you see just that.
Are there any dollar bills lying around, good game master?
There are quite a number of them splayed out on the desk, on the floor, a little bit everywhere. There's definitely
Beautiful. My pupils instantly dilate. I am tunnel vision. I just go straight over to the table and start cutting lines and just...
Who was following her into the office?
We both were.
Yeah, reluctantly.
Good or ill.
You turn the corner and both appear in the doorway just as Kirsty is finishing doing this fucking farmland furrow sized line, like that, almost like the length of the desk. And she looks up singing a Steppenwolf song or something.
No.
And there's still like a snowdrift worth of Coke on the table.
Oh yeah, like you're gonna need a shovel.
We're going full Scarface
I
here.
see this, and then I turn to the doctor and I say, must run in the family.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't have a prescription for that.
I like...
It's too bad McIntire's not here.
Where is McIntire?
I don't know that I actually said that because I don't think that I know that he was sneaking off for... Do we know that?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Like, you went through a lot of effort to kind of hide it.
Far be it for me to
Kirsty
spoil his surprise.
knew, and so she kind of copped to it. But I'm gonna say that.
So I don't. That was just Eric being making an aside, not.
Just metagaming, like.
Yeah, it was metagaming addiction joke.
That's okay. It's all good. It was a good joke. You liked it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Octavian Chase is not into any kind of drugs, actually. So he's not tempted, I don't think, by this bacchanal in front of him. He will turn to Kirsty, though, and he'll say, my dear, is now the time? Really?
She just kind of like turns around and she's rubbing her nose and like posting up on the desk. Says, I think it's best time it could be, don't you, Octavian?
Well, it could heighten the sensitivity, perhaps to...
Shut up. Stop with the doctor shit. Just take a line if you want a line. There's plenty to go around.
I will pass.
Yes, maybe at a different time.
Come on.
Like
I mean,
years and years ago.
Let's be honest. We're gonna go upstairs and we're all gonna die up here, right? Yeah?
Well,
that's what my uncle wants. I'm pretty sure of it. So why not go out with a bang, boys? It'll be fun.
But...
I have a dinner appointment on Tuesday. I am not intending to die.
I have patience
intending
to see. Responsibilities, research to continue. My work is very important. I don't intend to die here.
Bravo. Bravo, boys. I love the hope. Keep the spirit alive. And she like turns around and just does another big line off the table.
Kirsty?
Yeah.
Do you know more about what awaits us upstairs?
I have no fucking clue.
You're feeling pretty,
I'm buzzing.
Yeah, you're feeling really kind of,
Finally, she can
pretty
talk and we
overconfident,
can get some
bulletproof.
answers.
Yeah, right.
My like pupils are dinner plates right now. You're staring into the void when you look in my eyes. Who knows? Who knows what's up there? Let's go find out. You guys ready? Let's go. It'll be great. It'll be fun. I'm sure. And her like other hand, she's like still clutching the knife from earlier, and it's a little jittery now.
That what she was cutting the coke with?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
After you, my dear.
She just kind of like walks by with a new pep in her step.
I look at the doctor, and I'm not quite leaving yet, but I'm just like, I guess we should go.
Yes. Yes.
Just a friendly reminder to you guys. We all do have advantages that rolled over from last game.
Ooh.
Bleak has 1. I have 3 right now. Dave has 1 and Eric has 1.
Cool.
Very nice.
As we are scooting out of the room, Octavian is gonna remove like a little pen from his pocket, his inner pocket, pop off the like lid of the pen, and just scoop up a little cocaine in that pen and just tuck it right back in his inside coat pocket. Hopefully without the doctor seeing, but he's
well, you can if you really want to do that, you can go ahead and give me a act under pressure roll.
Okay. Let me jump over to my character sheet here for just a second.
That would be your 2d10s plus coolness.
Cool. Well, it is about scooping up drugs, so we know it's super cool.
I will, however, give you a slight penalty of the good doctor has a perception of a 1, so I will give you a 1 penalty on your roll.
Okay, my roll was a 12. And I will point out, too, that because Octavian Chase is wearing cotton gloves, he's not always the most dexterous at the things he's trying to do with his little fingers.
So that's a 12 with the 1 penalty and adding your cool?
I'm sorry, without the penalty, so I guess it would be an 11.
All right, so as you pick it up, you're pretty sure the doctor didn't notice anything. And as you kind of walk out and are putting it in your pocket, just as you're walking out of the office, because since you've got an 11, it says that there's an unexpected outcome, a high price, or a difficult choice. As you're about to step out, you put it, and most of it kind of spills and goes down the front of your jacket.
Found it! I pull out my pocket square and kind of push it off like I'm trying to get flour off my shirt. But then I'm just going to turn right back into the room and do it more carefully this time, and I don't care if the doctor sees me.
All right. Are you still hanging around, Doctor, or have you moved on?
No, he would have walked out. He's not paying attention at this point.
So you managed to get yourself a nice little pen cap full of pretty prime,
So I've seen.
I'd like to think that when you guys walk out and Christy's standing there, like she's got just like a little dribble of blood coming from her nose at this point. It's been a while for her.
Okay.
She doesn't seem to notice.
Anyone want to do something, or?
I will. Carla, you didn't seem to notice another soft drink machine on this level, did you?
Carla's sitting on the sofa where you were a minute ago. She hasn't moved. She's got a long strand of her hair in her mouth, and she's just kind of chewing it with kind of like a 1,000-yard stare,
I'm going to go sit right next to her. And I'm going to do my best from the HR training that I've had not to touch her or anything like that. And I turn to her and I say, Carla, my dear, I'm starting to grow afraid that this assignment brings with it, well, considerably more danger than most of ours. And of late, I have been thinking about the position that I have put you in by bringing you here. And I want you to know that I understand that it is not without hardship, and that I do appreciate the efforts you make on behalf of our partnership.
It looks like she's just noticing you for the first time. Oh, I'm sorry. And she removes her earbud out. Were you talking to me, Mr. Chase? I'm sorry. I was listening to Percy. I was listening to Percy. I just want to make sure that Percy was okay. He's yapping a little bit, but I think he's okay. Like I left him a little extra food and water before I left, and like he doesn't seem like he's crying or so. Like I think we're still okay.
At first,
I was just checking on this. Right?
At first, I look like I'm pissed that she has not been paying attention to me, but then slowly, like my eyes get really wide, and I'm clearly looking at the earbud in her hand, and then my eye like goes down the cord and looks to see what it's attached to, and I then turn right back up to her and I say, "Oh, did you smuggle in a cell phone?"
I don't know if I smuggled it in, but was I supposed to give them my cell phone?
Yes, they confiscated our cell phones. That may be a very valuable tool for us. Thank you, Carla. Why don't you reward yourself? In that room over there, there's a table with a giant pile of cocaine. Atta girl, Carla. Why don't you take advantage?
I don't do that anymore, sir. I don't do that anymore. I used to be a big party girl, and let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. And there were some times, whew, and I think it's better for everyone if I don't go back down that road. So I thank you. That's fine. But if I'll go look if there's some DC that I can find. Maybe there's a machine up here that's got some DC.
Yes, that would be great. Why don't you do that? And to tell you what, get one for yourself as well. We'll reimburse you if you do an expense report.
That's very kind. That's very kind, Mr. Chase. Thank you.
Indeed.
I'll go check. So
and he's just beaming. He thinks he's like, that's been a good boss moment that I was able to bring her that comfort in the middle of the chaos.
And Kirsty, as you're approaching the gang that's stalking, John sees you, and then you can go. And as he's still kind of talking, he comes over to you, and he's kind of standing between you and the rest of them, and comes over and he pulls a handkerchief out of his jacket and he wipes under your nose, and he's like, "Are you okay?"
Rusty pipes, I guess.
All right, and he gives you the handkerchief here. I think you got a runny nose.
Mm-hmm. You would know, John. She kind of just slips it into the pocket of her dress. You know, there's a big pile in there. You could go help yourself. Get wild.
You see, like, it dings, right? And he's like, I have no clue what you're talking about. All right. So it looks like, Mr. Chase, doctor, if you would.
Yes.
We're going to be pushing up and going upstairs. Are you ready to move?
Oh, yes. Once Carla returns, we should be good to go.
Come on.
Carla comes back. All they had was kombucha.
Well, if you want to expense one of those for yourself, feel free.
Thank you.
Turn away from her.
Jackson.
Kombucha is alive.
Kombucha vending machines? This place is fucking bougie.
Kombucha's alive.
So the security guy, whose call comes back, goes, all right, we're going to move upstairs. I'm going to have two of my guys coming up behind us. I will take point with one of them, and the rest of you, be careful. We have no clue what's up there, but obviously you know that there's some weirdness going on. Try not to touch anything, I guess. And so you'll line up and get ready to go upstairs. You will start creeping up the stairs, and as you make your way up to the top floor, you arrive first in a, as you can see on the owlbear. You come up the stairs and arrive in an area that looks like some sort of security office. There are windows on both sides. You can see on one side a wide terrace. It doesn't look like it's finished yet. Like there's some trees that haven't been planted. Like they're still like in the little bags and whatnot. And there's some benches and stuff that are stacked to the side. And when it looks like they're still building this part of the roof terrace. But on the other side, there's a wall, and then there's the word pool and an arrow that points towards a corridor. As you come up, the first place that you sort of end up stepping into, the lot of you, is sort of the main security area. And there are a number of computer monitors around here. There's no one here. The place is very dark, very quiet. And as you come up, you've been used so far to kind of turning corners and seeing weird things. This place is dreadfully normal. Like, it's very Spartan, very clinical. They haven't, even finished putting in some of the chairs and the plastic plants or whatever that are going to go in here. It's still very much sort of in development. It doesn't look like it was necessarily being used. You can see a map of the building, and you can see that on one side there's the terrace, like I was saying, and then there's the security, and there's the pool building, and then on the other end there's a helipad that's being built also down there. As you come up and move into the security office, the screens sort of flare to life around you. As you enter the security room, several monitors come to life. You see what appears to be a room with a pool, and this is the room. I'll put on Albert, the room that you see. In the video monitor, this is one of the the maps that Solution made specifically for us for this game.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Bespoke.
Very
That's
cool.
amazing.
You see what appears to be a room with a pool. The lights are low and reflect dimly on the waters. At the head of the pool, you see several figures sitting in a semicircle. There are 6 arrayed around the 7th. You recognize Emil Archon in the center. One is bald, broad-shouldered man. Another man is old, his skin hanging loosely around his thin frame, his face that of a raptor. There's a plump, regal-looking old woman sitting next to a thin, beautiful black woman, and another woman, this one blonde, with toned bronze skin. All are stripped to the waist with some vestments of dark cloth wrapped around their legs. Streaks of garish red, dried blood perhaps, adorn their skin. They seem in a deep trance. You watch as a man dressed in what appears to be a delivery man's clothes approaches Emil, whispers to him. Emil reacts angrily, giving orders. The delivery man departs. What appears to be some sort of ceremony then begins. Something is burnt in what seems to be a censer, fumes rising and enveloping the participants as they begin to move, slowly, languorously, and appear to be chanting. You watch as the water of the pool begins to glow brightly. Emil draws a strange item from a box. It appears to be a collar of some sort, made of gold. It has clasps and hooks, and it looks like a long needle could be pushed into the throat of whoever would wear it. He sets it aside, then draws a vile-looking mask, placing it on his head. The overall effect, what you are watching, is both fascinating and disturbing. There seems to be a pause, as if they are waiting for something. The 6 appear still, to be in a trance, but Emil often glances to the doors. Then you see them. See them open. Kirsty stands there, naked, covered in blood. In her hand is a black knife. Emil appears confused, and Kirsty seems lost in thought for a moment. Then something shifts on her face. The knife twitches in her hand. With what appears to be gleeful pleasure, she drives the blade in Emil's throat. Blood shoots in long spurts, staining his mask and Kirsty. The others are still in a trance, and as Emil sinks to the ground, clutching at his throat, Kirsty begins systematically killing the others. The blow to Emil was swift and accurate, but this is pure butchery. The entranced cultists, unable to defend themselves, barely aware of what is happening as Kirsty savagely stabs and cuts, tearing them apart with an inhuman amount of rage and force. As she does this, the pool grows brighter and brighter, the yellow light turning to red, becoming blinding to the point where the cameras overload. Black screen. Slowly, the video feed returns. The room is empty, save for blood-stained footsteps leading to the shower. A few moments later, Kirsty emerges from the shower, freshly cleaned, wrapped in fresh, clean towels. She heads out of the doors without a look back at the now empty pool room.
Octavian takes a step and interposes Carla between him and Kirsty.
If anyone looked at Kirsty's face while we're watching the video, you would see that there is both a mixture of horror and excitement in her face. And she's watching very intently. Even when the screen turns black, she can't seem to tear her eyes away from it.
Dr. LeVay is watching Christie's face and kind of turning back to the footage and back, and then looks down at her hand, which I presume he would see the dagger, and he takes a step back as well. I believe we've discovered what's happened to our employer then.
I've put an image of the mask that you saw on the items list in the tab in the character sheets thing.
Well, that's
John
horrifying.
Looks over his shoulder at Kirsty, and his face is just a mask of confusion. He's like, what the... The others, Miss Santorino and Call, the security guys are sort of outside. They haven't really seen what's going on, but Davis Call and Miss Santorino staring at this thing, at what they saw. Now they're looking at each other. And you can obviously tell, like, this is not at all what they thought was going to happen. And as John turns around and he goes to you, Kirsty goes, is this real, or is this another...
Oh, it's real. It wasn't me, though. It was her. It wasn't me. But it's
Who
real.
the fuck was it? I saw you. I just saw you on that fucking screen right there. Fucking butcher, like, what was it, 7 people?
Yeah. It's not like they were good people, John. Let's be honest. Would you like to defend them?
I don't want to defend anyone. I don't even fucking understand I don't even understand what's going on. Like,
Look, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, okay?
I saw it and I can't believe it.
Why don't you try us, my dear?
Yes, I presume what you're implying is that she, being your sister.
Ding, ding, ding. Wow, you're onto something, Doctor. You want to tell us more? Would you like to diagnose me? I'd love one of those. That's my favorite.
Well,
I don't know. I could just feel her. It was like she took over. Like she was protecting me from something. I don't know.
Are you still in danger now?
I don't know, Doctor. Are we in danger? Am I in danger?
Feel as though the fact that you grip that blade so tightly is evidence that perhaps we are still in danger.
Are you afraid I'm going to cut your throat like I cut theirs, Doctor? Like maybe I might remember something I'm not supposed to?
He leaves the room at that point. He like backpedals out of the room.
Kirsty, perhaps if you put down the knife, it would lower the tension in the room and we could get to the bottom of what's going on.
I'm not putting anything down, Octavian.
Well, all right. Fair enough. It sure looked to me, but You've been very forthcoming. Now allow me to be forthcoming. The mask that was part of this ritual is something that I didn't catalog it, but I saw it in the vault that had the throne as well. Those things are unique to this building, and I can confirm that. Mm-hmm. And then he looks at Miss Santorini like he's just solved a great mystery, and he's all...
The two of them seem to be completely ignoring you. They're off in a corner, kind of,
Okay.
head to head, sort of talking. If you're going to have to, you can get their attention if you want. I'm just sort of letting you know that.
No, it's just yet another time where Octavian looks to the side for a lifeline and finds absolutely nothing, and then is standing there awkwardly. Kirsty, it looked in the video as though you interrupted a ritual. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's exactly what that looks like.
Well, as we've learned, the immediate image before us is not always the full truth. So I want you to really think about the moment that you were in. And is it possible that you were in fact a part of the ritual? That the way that you were controlled was to the ends that perhaps they wanted to be slaughtered, is what I'm getting at. Does that ring a bell in there?
I don't know if that's what they wanted. I don't know.
Well, we know they were doing the ascension ritual. I believe they wanted to ascend, perhaps something more. Bleak, what's the connection again between it? Where am I getting in my head that they wanted to open a portal? Do we know? How do we know that?
Yeah, it was something that in one of the things that Archon was saying, he talks about. Hold on, just gonna go find my notes. Just looking where it is.
Just for the record, while this is happening,
Yeah, I was going to ask you where you were going there.
They would be back out by where the security guards are, and basically like telling them that Archon's murder is right there, his niece.
I'm just looking for the exact thing, but it was when he was talking about being able to pierce the illusion, traveling to Kether. So yeah, okay. So in one of the things, when he was talking about Georges Bataille, he says, Kether had asked a few things of me over time in exchange for his patronage. First was the life of my niece. He called her a thaumaturgic quickener, one with the power to amplify whatever magics are channeled through her. And so he's talking about Julia here. With her in his possession, you can more easily reinforce the illusion. His second ask was a little more difficult, but it was clear that I had no option if my goal was true transcendence. My brother and his wife made excellent sacrifices, not the least because of the fact that they were unwitting agents of Malkuth. This earned me the ruler's visage, which is the mask, with which I was finally able to pierce the illusion and travel to Kether's dark citadel in Metropolis. It also allowed me to gather these other supplicants at my side. Once construction of the tower is complete, it can become a doorway through which we may pass freely outside of Elysium and our prison.
Okay. Do we know where the mask is right now? Is it visible in the frame? Like, is it the bottom of the pool?
Right now, the camera shows exactly what that picture shows you. The completely empty room. There's no blood anywhere except for those footsteps. There's no bodies. Can you tell me again, what was Marcus LeVay doing? Sorry, Dave.
No problem.
I was reading.
Yeah, no problem. So LeVay kind of like backpedals out of the room feeling as though he's being threatened, and then goes to the security people and says, the murderer is in that room. It's Kirsty Archon. It's his niece. And then he's going to sort of like continue backpedaling, almost like not really being spatially aware of where he is, getting closer to the pool itself. And then he kind of turns around and looks at the pool.
Okay, so before you get to the pool, as you are sort of pedaling along, you follow the sign towards the pool. You find yourself in a long corridor. As you're walking down this corridor that leads to the pool, one, you can see on the carpet there are traces of dried blood, not leaving the pool but heading towards it.
Okay.
Like footsteps and and so on and so forth. And I would like you to make me a seeing through the illusion.
Okay.
See through the illusion roll. So that's your
soul, right?
Yeah, your roll plus your soul. I've been giving you guys advantages in certain cases. You don't have it this time.
Okay.
Make of that what you will.
I'm also, my
You're gonna
stability
get
is at neurotic right now. So I think I have a -2 to my roll as well.
Okay.
I believe that's what that means. All right. A 2.
Oh no.
You just got another advantage from creature, Dave.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you, creature.
You walk down this hall, and oddly enough, as you're walking, you're seeing these little traces of blood here and there on the carpet. As you're walking, your feet make really squishy sound, as if you're walking on carpet that would be completely soaked, but there's nothing. You just see traces of it here and there. Just so you know, with a 2 roll there, it means I get a move on you. I will log this move against you. And as you're walking towards the room where the pool is, you start hearing whispers coming down the hall behind you. When you turn around, you don't see anything, but the whispers are coming from behind you again. And as you're kind of turning back and forth, because they're always kind of just over your shoulder and sort of coming, they start getting a little louder. And then you can hear people talking. And while you can't clearly make out what they're saying, you recognize the voices as the voices that were on the tapes for the interviews that you did when you were looking for patients for your experiment. The words they're saying are nonsense. You can't make out exactly what the words are, but you recognize the voices. You know it's them, all 3 of them. Feel like they're standing one on each side of you, like you're in the middle of a triangle.
What? Why? Bella, Javier, Nicole? I can't hear you. What are you saying? I didn't mean for it to happen like it did. He starts looking through his pockets for his medication. Can't find it.
Are you okay,
what will you have me do?
Doctor. And
what will you have me do?
Something hits your face, and you kind of come to, and there's one of the security guards there. Doctor, you're right. You're screaming like a madman.
I've been invited by the Queen.
All right, everyone's going fucking crazy in this thing. Look, where are you going? You should stay with the group. Come on.
Of course. He looks back over his shoulder one last time as he's following this individual.
As you turn and look at the pool, you hear Hera's voice come through on speakers that you can't see, and the security guard doesn't seem to notice at all, but the voice says, "Don't worry, doctor. We've been waiting for you for a while. We can be patient a little longer.
Good. Patience.
As you return to the room with the other guard, with the other people, Miss Santorino is talking to Kirsty. She's like, if you did this, there would be bodies. Where are the bodies? And somebody else says, there's supposed to be six. John says, and there's supposed to be 7 + 1 + Archon. Why is there only 6 + 1? There's someone missing. Where are the bodies, Kirsty?
Don't know. No fucking clue. We could go take a look at the pool if you'd like.
Well, I guess we're going to have to.
Does she still have the knife?
Yeah.
You can tell that the security guards have kind of moved in and they're very nonchalantly keeping an eye on her now.
Seems like a good idea.
I'm going to pull Octavian to the side. Octavian.
Yes?
I'm hearing voices. I am being compelled to things which I do not know the end to, but I am starting to see the 6th, the 7th. He kind of turns towards where Kirsty's standing with the dagger. I do believe she was correct in one thing, that our death does lie here.
Not you too, Doctor. What? Tell me more. What voices are you hearing? Have you heard these voices before?
I have heard these voices from my past, from my research. Voices that should not be audible, but they are.
Why shouldn't they be audible, Doctor?
Ah!
Whoa! I think both of us are a little caught off guard as Madam Snowblood over here shows up.
Because these people are dead.
They died in your care?
I turn to her and I say, it wouldn't be the first time, my dear. I'm afraid to say. There are lots of things the doctor would prefer other people didn't know.
Interesting.
Isn't that right, Doctor?
John says there are a lot of things a lot of people would rather others don't know. We started washing everyone's laundry out in public here. I think we're going to be washing for a good long time.
I have nothing to hide, Octavian. These people died during the course of our experimentation, but it was accidental. It was...
Of course, it's always an accident, isn't it, Doctor? You want to tell me why I remember you? You want to come clean? I think it's time we come clean, Doctor.
Very well. I was once asked to conduct a bit of an examination of you. Not part of the experimentations, but at the request of your uncle.
Kind of examination, Doctor?
You were a mess. You were on one of your tirades, a binge of some kind. You were not lucid. You were ill, and I was asked to evaluate your health.
Why? Why does he care about my health?
I do not know. I know better than to ask the whys behind certain things when it is asked of me, a benefactor such as your uncle, to provide the assistance needed in my research. It was the least I could do for a loved one, as I thought you were at the time. But now, seeing this footage, I know that not to be the case.
Excuse me? This man killed my sister and my parents. Let's not forget.
I did not know.
What did you find? when you looked at me?
You had been assaulted in the most horrible of ways. I dare not delve into the details of that for...
I don't need you to. Go on. Anything else?
We met a second time. A different time. At the Westwood Serenity House. Do you remember this?
I remember Westwood. Bits and pieces. That's all I need.
Stoneham?
Fucking creep.
Well, nevertheless, the man asked me to evaluate potential subjects in our experimentation. Yourself, 3 individuals, Bella, Javier, Nicole. You were not selected for further evaluation at that time. I did not recognize you.
What
as the
kind of
same...
experiments? Those people never came back.
Those are the 3 that are now speaking to me from these very halls.
What kind
They have
of
come
experiments, Doctor? She's like white knuckling the knife at her side at this point.
Our investigations sought to unravel the connection between the physical aspects of the brain, the chemical nuance of neurotransmitters, and breaking past the veil to something beyond, which is not my realm of knowledge. He looks over to Octavian. But we were close. These individuals were selected for further evaluation, for experimentation. Yes, we experimented on their brain chemistry. Yes, we lost them one by one to some unknown cause. I have felt that loss ever since, and they have traveled with me. I do believe that they have traveled with me from that very moment, only now to be given a voice. They are here right now. Do I hear them right now, Bleak?
No.
Okay.
I kind of like look around as he says this. And I would like to use advanced awareness if I can, to kind of see if I can hear or see the things that he's claiming.
Okay. You get advantage.
Oh.
Means roll an extra d10 and pick the 2 that you want.
That is a 15 for me.
You look about and you get a sense, you get that feeling that you get when your senses really open up and when you see things. And you see nothing. There is nothing around the professor, nothing around you or the others. You sense that there is something further, but where you are right now, there's nothing. The only thing that sort of takes your attention a little bit is you hear, after a while, a little bit of a vibrating noise, almost like a tuning fork, that appears to be emanating from the doctor, from somewhere on his body.
Can I pinpoint the location on him?
Where's the Vox Anima, Dave?
It would be in his front right pocket.
So it's somewhere in his
Probably
lower
gripping
corner.
it right now with one hand.
What do you got there, Doctor?
As I was saying, the medical records, the analysis was inconclusive on what killed them. I
She pulls her knife up.
The security guards all kind of shift a little bit, and John's like, Kirsty.
I know what I'm doing.
At this point, I think it's very important that I tell you, Kirsty, that neither I nor Carla have ever met you before.
Shut up, Octavian. What do you have, Doctor? What's in your pocket? I can hear it.
Drop the knife. I will show you.
She very slowly lowers the knife.
He very slowly pulls out this Vox Animus, which is something that Octavian has seen before, certainly, and would recognize. And he just holds it tightly in his hand. It's this spike. And I don't know all the details of what it looks like, Bleak. So you might want to describe it, but it's a spike.
Yeah. So it's like a long sort of needle. One end of it is kind of twisted into a corkscrew, and the tip of it has a bit of a ball on it, like the size of a pea maybe. And the entire thing is a weird color because it looks like it's made of corroded bronze. Like that's the closest sort of thing you can kind of come to. It looks very, very strange. And there are all sorts of weird little symbols sort of engraved all over it. And when he pulls it out, you, with your sixth sense, and so you rolled really high on your enhanced awareness, you can clearly tell that there is a lot of energy of some sort tied to this, and it feels like the closest sort of sense you get to is this kind of like an antenna or something, but like something that would transmit or sort of receive things. But it oddly sort of smells like you would imagine a musty graveyard crypt would. Like there's a stench of death attached.
Kirsty,
the Vox Anima, I say immediately. When
I like instantly looked up to Octavian, like this guy
Carla's
probably
like,
knows.
didn't we get that for him, Mr. Chase?
Yes, Carla, that's item 326, the Vox Anima from that monastery that we visited in Belgium. It's so nice to see that it's in great condition since you bungled your experiments with it, Doctor.
Well, I do believe that it worked to a point, Octavian.
What is it?
And Octavian says, do you mean that point right there? And he points to the very tip of the corkscrew. And then he turns to Kirsty. The Vox Anima was used by a group of monks right before the Inquisition. They believed that by drilling it literally into one's head, it would create a sort of antenna that could allow one to communicate with unseen voices. Perhaps carrying it in one's pocket is nearly good enough to driving it directly into the brain, eh, Doc?
Well, I assure you that our precise instrumentation was much less gruesome than drilling into one's head. But yes, we did utilize it as a bit of a receiver or perhaps a transmitter. I still haven't quite figured out how to take full advantage of its power, but it is quite important to me.
Why do you have it? Why is it here?
Surely it's a symbol of one of your greatest failures. Why do you carry it with you at all times?
It is a burden that I must bear. I cannot bear to let it go.
All right, I don't know what kind of bullshit y'all are talking about, but it's not getting us anywhere near where we need to be. You definitely all have issues to sort out, and maybe at some point you can all kind of go and get coffee together and sit down and kind of work them out. But right now we only have one thing left to do, and that's find Emil Archon's body. And if, Kirsty, you can't tell us what you did with the bodies, if you indeed did what we just saw on the screen, then we're going to go down there right now and fucking find him, because
are you
7
fucking
bodies...
kidding me, John? Do you really think that I could lift my uncle to even think about moving him?
Well, then they got to be somewhere. So We're going to go down there. We're going to check it out. If there's 7 bodies in there, we're going to fucking find him. And then when we find Emil's body, regardless of what's happened to him, we can get the fuck out of here. And then once we're out of here, we can sort out who did what to who and who's communicating with the dead. And now we're going to sort this up. Until we have Archon's body, we really have nothing and we're stuck here. So let's get our fucking asses in there and let's find Archon's body and get the hell out of this fucking place.
My good sir, has it occurred to you that dying may have been part of Archon's plan? He was looking to ascend, man. He was looking to transcend into another place.
His body should still be there.
The Club Prospero.
He didn't fucking ascend anywhere. If Kirsty did what we saw in that thing, she killed all of them before they got whatever mumbo jumbo they were supposed to fucking do off.
My sir, ascension is the matter of the soul. The soul exists both when alive and dead. Death itself is no barrier to the ascension of a soul.
Oh,
work on your
God,
basic
Kierkegaard,
occultism.
stuff it, all right? Look,
I'll have you know, it's why I was invited to this particular. It is my speciality, good sir.
Santorino says,
Quiet.
John's right. The faster we find Archon's body, the faster we get out of here. And really, right now, between what we've seen happening here and her and everything else, this is really the last place on earth I want to be, because I got 4 armed guards here doing my bidding, and I don't feel safe. So put that thing back in your pocket, put that thing back in your pocket, and let's go down there and find Archon's body. It's got to be somewhere. You couldn't have dragged him very far. We'll find him. We'll call out. We'll get out of here.
Lead the way. I suggest we start at the deep end.
All right. Davis, lead us out there. Everybody else, let's go. This fucking night is just like, I'm not even going to be able to it's going to cost me fucking millions in therapy just to be able to.
Before she turns to follow everyone, Kirsty's going to take a step towards Dr. LeVay and get uncomfortably close to him and say, if it's such a fucking burden, doctor, why don't you screw it into your own fucking head? And then turns around and just starts walking with everybody.
I'd like to approach the doctor right after she leaves, and I say, alternatively, if you wish to keep it in something of mint condition, perhaps we could discuss. I believe I may have another buyer, is what I'm trying to say. So if you do want to get rid of the Vox Anima, I'm sure I could find another home for it. No need to drill it into your own head or break it or throw it away or obsess over it for the rest of your natural life. I'd be paid top dollar. Just rest assured, if it ever crosses your mind. And then I walk away. If you ever...
As he walks away, Carla comes up to you and goes, you know, to be honest, when you got it, I thought it was just a wine bottle opener. And she walks off.
I love her so much.
Anyone else have advice?
And I follow her.
Yeah, I advise you to start moving, doctor. Says David's calling.
Of course. Very well.
As you head down that corridor, you experience the same thing that LeVay experienced at first. You do see a little bit of blood on the carpet, as someone who had been dripping with blood walking towards the pool. I will ask all of you to make a seeing through the illusion roll, although this time you get to make it with advantage. Remember to calculate penalties. Yeah, all of you. Remember to calculate whatever penalties you might have from your stability. Unless you're unhinged, in which case you get a bonus.
It's a 13 for me.
Oh, no. I got a 7.
Doctor? Sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, 11.
Okay. So, Eric, you sort of experience the same thing. Love experience the first time where you feel like the carpet is very squishy, but there's no real reason why. You got a 7 with advantage.
Oh, how does advantage working? You roll.
You add an extra die, then you pick the top, the 2 die.
Okay, no. With advantage, I got a 9.
So terrible. So yeah, so the floor feels very squishy.
And I'm wearing designer shoes, so I'm a little concerned about that, just off on its face.
And those of you who made it, if you want to take a look at the, we'll say the items tab, I will put a picture. And as you're walking down this hall, this is what you see.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
But
A number of the other people also are like, what the fuck happened here?
You can't tell me that I did all of this. This isn't even possible. And she's like shaking.
What's not possible, my dear?
You don't fucking see it?
I mean, the little blood stain right there, that little thing, is that weird?
Yeah, the little blood stain.
I look at Carla and I'm like...
Carla's like, this is very disgusting. You should be careful. I mean, it's probably going to drop on your shirt. You should don't stand there. Move. No, there's not good. No, move. It's useless. It's everywhere.
But I can't see any of that, right?
No.
I know. Rest assured, everyone. Perhaps I am simply temporarily blinded, for I will call upon the power of Dr. Elmer Knowles's radio hypnotic crystal. And I'm going to try to dabbler in the occult to read the auras to see if I might be able to see something.
Okay. Go for it. Dabbling the occult. Does what exactly?
It's just basically like an occult ritual.
All right, go for it.
I got a 4.
As you hold up your item, what did you call it?
It's the radio hypnotic crystal of Dr. Elmer Knowles.
As soon as you hold it up, you immediately see coming at you the face of your friend from back in the day who wanted the amulet, who just comes at you.
Hanson!
Fabian. You're standing in a puddle of blood. Your shoes are ruined.
What? No! And I look down. Are my shoes okay?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? They're still as white as the day I bought them.
There's more blood in this hallway than could possibly be held within 7 human bodies. Look at this.
I can't see anything.
Your ability to see through the veil has faltered. Count yourself lucky. This is terrible. Keep moving. Just keep moving.
Very well. Very well. Do as instructed.
It's always safer to do as the doctor ordered.
Yes. Doctor's orders.
As you walk towards the room, the pool room, you open the doors and step in and see this, as you see it there on the owlbear. But I will ask you to once again do a see through the illusion roll with advantage.
That's a 13 from me.
I got a 6. I probably should have taken some cocaine.
You know, I'm gonna use my advantage. Oh, I did already. You gave us advantage. 7.
All right. So, sorry, remind me what you got, Creep?
It's a 13.
All right. So, Doctor and Mr. Chase, as you walk into the room, the pool room is warm and quiet. You see bloody footprints leading to the shower room, and there's a faint, sweet, coppery smell in the air. You feel uneasy about this place, like some dark secret is waiting just to be uncovered, like something dark and alien and truly demented took place here. It raises the hairs on the back of your neck. Kirsty, as you walk into the pool room, the savaged and partially dismembered bodies of about 6 people lay scattered around the pool and in the pool itself. The water is thick red with blood, and the stench of rotting meat is heavy in the air, meat left out in the rain and sun and rain and sun. As you stare at this scene, something happens. Your vision starts to tremble at the edges. The world before you unravels as if you had been watching a play all this time, and suddenly someone yelled, "Enough!" and the actors began to remove their clothes and wigs and makeup, and the stagehands began rolling up the carpets and flying out the rigging, revealing the guts of the theater behind them. Only the actors don't stop there. They begin to remove their faces, their skins, stepping out of them and letting them pool around their feet in gelatinous folds, the skin beneath red and raw and wet. And the stagehands don't stop there. They take away the walls and the ceiling and the floors, and beyond you see a dark, industrial, gothic landscape that seems made from bricks of pain, mortar of sin, stones of spoiled innocence, the concrete poured from the husks of eviscerated youths, the glass blown from their eyeballs, the skins of 1,000 lost souls stretched taut to form a cyclorama upon which the gaudiest, most revolting and arousing colors flash. You feel as if your every sin, every dark secret, every debased thought or inappropriate lust is writ large on your skin for everyone to see in indelible ink made with the blood of demons. Your soul is flayed. Your humanity never existed. You are the nothingness that exists between the stars. Then you blink and the city is gone, but the pool at your feet glows with an unearthly light, a yawning chasm whose radiance grows and grows and grows. Behind it, you know, lies truth, maddening, insanity shattering perhaps, but truth. You need only unlock the door. And I would ask you to make a keep it together roll.
Yep. I would like to use one of my advantages on this roll if I could.
Go for it. Remember that you're at a -2 penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, a -1, and you're keeping it together. For being shaken, not stirred.
That's my willpower, yes. Okay. All right. So 13.
You manage to keep your wits about you to a certain degree. However, you will get a condition, the effort that you have to make to keep it together causes you to either choose one, become angry, sad, scared, guilt-ridden, or obsessed.
I feel like she would be pretty racked with guilt, even though she doesn't like these people or what they've done. She did kill them all, and she's getting to look at their bodies now.
But you lose 1 stability.
Okay. Can she still see the bodies?
Yep. And it's clear that some others in your group, including John, also see it this way. I would say that Miss Santorino doesn't see anything. Two of the guards don't. One of them obviously seeing this, and it looks like he's about to lose his mind. And John absolutely sees it. He's like, how could you not remember this? And he also seems very shaken by the entire thing.
I'm assuming I don't see my uncle's body.
Nope.
She's gonna.
For your information, also, I've changed the picture on Albert. This is what the radiance in the pool looks like to you.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
even have like dead bodies that I can put around. There you go.
Octavian Chase is going to turn to Kirsty, and he has not pierced the veil, so he's just seeing him. And he says, well, Kirsty, one thing I'll say for your uncle is he had a flair for avant-garde interior decor.
I think all the voices at this point are distant to her. Very much so like a background track. And even John's comment fails to really sink in for her as she's approaching the body that's closest to her, and kneeling down and reaching out to touch it, almost as if she's making sure that this is real, that she's not, it's not her schizophrenia, it's not a vision. She needs to feel it for herself, to know that these visions are true.
And what are the good doctor and Mr. Chase doing?
Octavian Chase is just gonna do what he said, which is kind of walk toward the deep end of the pool and just kind of look down and see if he can see the floating mask or anything, or sunken mask or whatever. He just doesn't really know what to do. It looks like the normal pool room. It's kind of exactly as he expected, so he's just making a casual observation of the room.
I think,
Dave,
Dr.
and here, your thing in your pocket, you would feel it vibrating now.
Sure. And I think Dr. LeVay at this point would know that even though he may not be able to see something, there is obviously something that other people are seeing. He is going to remember back to the video feed earlier when they were on the main entry level. I do believe they saw footprints leading to the showers.
Mm-hmm. You still see them. They're still there. You do see the footprints.
Okay, great. So he's gonna follow those to the shower and like walk in there to see what he sees.
All right. So I'll start with you. When you get in there, you see the footprints continue towards where the shower is, and in the shower area itself, you can see like a lot of dried blood, like in the grout of the place, like someone washed off a lot of blood in here. And then there's like a cabinet with like towels and stuff like that, and there's a few of them that are on the ground, like someone just pulled out some towels and whatnot, and that fell to the ground and before leaving.
Okay, nothing, no bodies or any other evidence of massacre.
No.
Okay.
Kirsty, you go near one of the bodies, you said?
Yeah, I bend down and I've got like one shaky hand kind of reaching out to touch it.
When you touch it, you will give me a schizophrenia roll.
Beautiful. What I wanted.
Yeah. And I would like, we'll wait on the other two for a second.
Does my disadvantage currently tie into that roll?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a 7.
Thank you for those 3 holds.
You son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You reach out and touch the body, and you hear your sister's voice that says, "You shouldn't feel guilty, Kirsty. It was me who did this. I did it to protect you, like I've always done. I've always protected you. I need you to save me. I need you to come and get me now. I beg you. It's your turn to be brave, little sister. I need you to come and get me. What they're doing to me here is unspeakable. The pain that I feel, the horror that inhabits my mind every waking moment of every day. I can't take it much longer. I need you to be brave and strong, and I need you to come and save me."
Julia, how? How?
There's no answer.
Julia, please talk to me. I need to know. I just want to find you. And like, she's got tears starting to streak down her eyes as she's touching this body that I'm only a few in the room can actually see.
You see this, Octavian, you see her talking to someone or something as she's touching this body. There's obviously no one there.
That seems like a lot to deal with. I'm going to come up to her, and I'm going to like reach out to put my hand on her shoulder, but then I'm like look down at the dagger, and I'm like going to pull my hand back, and I'm going to say, "Kirsty, my dear, are you all right?"
No.
Come back to us, Kirsty. Who are you talking
I'm
to?
here.
Well, yes. Well, good. We're all here. Tell me, what do you see?
You're not here. I'm here. You're not here. You can't see what I see, can you?
Yes, no, I'm afraid I can't. It looks like a very stylish, but
fucking bodies, Octavian. They're all here, except for. No, they're not. They're not all here. And she's looking around. My uncle, he's missing. Maybe he got what he wanted. Maybe he's with her.
Her, your sister?
Yeah.
Here's my fear. I think your uncle was engaged in a ritual. I think all 7 of them were engaged in a ritual to ascend, whatever that may mean, an ascension of the soul of some kind. And in doing that, from what we've learned from his own voice, your uncle believed he needed to sacrifice you. And as near as I can see standing before me, one thing I can see in this room is that you are with us. So as long as that is true, I am not sure by the rules of ritual magic that it is possible that your uncle could have fully succeeded in his task. Which is why, my dear, I think we should get you out of this building as fast as possible.
I can't leave. None of us can leave. We have to find her. She's here somewhere. I can hear her, Octavian. Please. We have to find her.
To think back to the thing that you, I think, Bleak, just read off 35 minutes ago or whatever, where Rakand is talking about sacrificing who I assume are Kirsty's parents, and Kirsty's sister. Could you recall for us the exact language that's used when he's talking about what he did with Kirsty's sister, Julia?
I can certainly do that. And would you give me an intuition roll while we're at it?
Absolutely.
So you roll.
Finally! Let me get my character sheet so I know exactly how
Yeah,
to
you get plus 3 on your intuition.
I do, yeah. So I got a 21 on that.
All right.
Woo.
Awesome. So what you remember him saying, Kethar has asked a few things of me over time in exchange for its patronage. First was the life of my niece. He called her a thaumaturgic quickener, one with the power to amplify whatever magics are channeled through her. With her in his position, he can more easily reinforce the illusion. His second ask was a little more difficult. It was clear I had no option if my goal was true transcendence. My brother and his wife made excellent sacrifices, not the least because of the fact that they were unwitting agents of Malkuth. This earned me the ruler's visage, with which I was finally able to pierce the illusion and travel to Kethar's dark citadel metropolis. It also allowed me to gather these other supplicants on my side. Once construction of the tower is complete, it can become a doorway through which we may pass freely outside of Elysium and our prison.
But specifically, it said that he had to give the life of Julia, right?
Yep.
My dear, I think you must consider the possibility that your uncle is somehow manipulating you with the voice of your sister to draw you beyond the Club Prospero into this other world where he can complete the ritual that... But you said your sister took over your actions when you did these gruesome murders.
I did.
I must admit, I am confused, but I think you should be careful that perhaps all is not as it seems.
As you're saying this, and Doctor, you'll see the same thing as you're coming out of the shower. At the other end of the pool, Carla is sat down next to the pool and removed her shoes and is putting her feet in the pool. And she puts her feet in the pool and she's like, seems to be enjoying it. And then she starts looking around her and all of a sudden her eyes go wide and she starts to scream and she scrambles out and away from the pool and just sort of backs off as far as she can. John goes over to sort of help her, but...
I'll rush over as well.
What is this? Where did they all come from? Where did are these real bodies? Is that real blood? And my feet in there. Is that a body floating in the pool? What's going on? Mr. Chase, what's going on? What's going on? And she's like losing it completely.
I'm going to approach her as well, but it'll take me a minute to get there.
Yeah, as you approach, you're all kind of gathering around her. And this happened as soon as she put her feet in the pool. She just like started...
I'm going to let the other people take a little bit of care of her because I honestly don't give a shit. So I'm going to turn around, actually, and put 2 and 2 together. And while everyone's crowding around Carla, Octavian walks up to the edge of the pool without anyone looking. From behind, you can see him sort of tugging at something. He takes his glove off when he's sure no one's looking. And he just takes a little finger. He doesn't look at his hand, but he just ducks his finger into the pool.
And as you do so, the water starts to turn red and you see inches away from your hand a body floating in that water. And as you look around, the description that I gave earlier of like the entire world kind of falling apart and opening up in front of you, and all this sort of darkness and weirdness just sort of assaults you, and all of a sudden you can see all these dead bodies everywhere, and you can see that where Kirsty is saying there's a dead body that she's holding the hand of, and you can see the blood everywhere.
I pull my finger out, take out my pocket square, wipe off my finger, replace the pocket square, put the glove back on, turn to Kirsty and say, I can see now. You're right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna, then I come back to her and I'll let...
A couple of things I'm going to need a couple of things from you here.
I kind of thought you might. I was sort of thinking maybe...
Yeah. So
by.
I would like you to give me a roll on your cursed. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Do I have like double advantage on this roll?
No, it's just straight up.
You have an advantage if you want to
Yeah, if you want
use it.
to.
Nope. I'm going to save it.
So it's just a straight roll then.
Is it affected by my stability?
Yes.
Then I got an 8 total.
Okay. Thank you for those 3 holds.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Alright.
Welcome, Blake. Happy to be of service.
Welcome to the party.
I know, we're the 3-hold club.
Woo!
Welcome to the party, pal. And as you're looking down at these bodies now, and your intuition rolled from earlier where you remember what you read.
21.
Yeah,
21.
when you remember what you read in the book in the throne room, this notion of having been able to find a way to write the rituals on the skin and then having it sort of sink deep into it and sort of almost disappear.
Right. That, let me find that. That's,
While you're finding that,
yes, please.
what is the good doctor doing?
He will make, kind of as a gesture almost, like respond to the alarm from Carla, and then kind of look back across at the other individuals in the room. I don't believe he can see any of the gore beyond the footprints at this point.
You would see, Octavian Chase is kneeling next to the pool and is putting away his handkerchief, but is looking around him as if like he's...
He'll just feel a hand on his shoulder suddenly. Octavian, what is it? What have you discovered?
I see the corpses, Doctor. I finally can see what all of you have seen, and it is both terrible and beautiful.
I do not see them. I have the veil before me.
Give me your hand, Doctor.
Now, have you put the glove back on?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I even said that I did.
Okay.
He gives you...
And he just fucking dunks your hand in the pool.
Ugh.
Just like, psh.
And as he does, the entire thing becomes unveiled to you. And as it does, I would ask you to... oh, you're good. You don't have anything that would be triggered by that.
No 3-hole clubs
He's-
for you, Dave.
He's good with it. That's the scary part, is he's good
Yeah.
with it.
He's taste testing the water.
Yeah.
I have a question, Bleak.
Yeah.
So I looked over my notes and stuff, and we're talking about the Slovakian death magician Wojtek Czerny.
That's right.
Right, and I remember that it was all about inscribing rituals deep into the flesh. I guess my next move is to look closely at the hand of the dead person that Kirsty is holding and see if I can detect the traces of any kind of like fading tattoo or anything like that.
No, not that you can see.
What is it that you're looking for?
I'll let you work on it a little bit before I...
Bleak, remind me this came up in the last session as well, and I quoted the passage, but what was the context for that specifically last time?
The idea was the Wojtek was looking for a way to always carry the rituals that he learned with him, so he wouldn't have to carry a book and sort of, know them. And he had found in traveling through this strange doorway to this in this temple in Mexico, had come into this weird world, and he'd encountered these people that would write their sins on their skin, and then that sort of would stay with him. And when he came back, he experimented with that, and his discovery eventually in the second book, the one that you found in Emil's thing, was he discovered a way to do that where he could inscribe rituals, the words and the instructions for rituals on his skin, and that they would eventually sort of sink in and then always be with him. And the other thing that you remember was one of the things that Arkan had said. I can't find it, but he said something about something being skin deep and that it gave him an idea.
All right. Now I have a different theory. So I'm looking at the body that Kirsty is holding on to, and you said that I didn't see any signs of tattooing or anything like that. I just moved my head up about 15-degree arc, and I look at Kirsty's hand that is holding on to this thing, and I want to see if there's any signs of tattooing on that hand or arm. I turn to the doctor. I say, Doctor, there are a number of corpses here. One of them may have a ritual tattooed onto it. Can you help me examine all of the dead bodies and see? You're a doctor, surely. You can do some medical things, yes?
Of course, of course.
I mean, successfully.
Even now, Octavian, in this moment, you seek to jab. But yes, I will help you. My question is whether or not you intend to open this gate. You seem all too eager.
Well, Kirsty was saying that her sister lies beyond the gate. I'm not personally so sure that every voice this girl hears is 100% accurate, but you're the one who examined her. What did you learn from that? Can we trust her? Did you see any strange tattoos on her skin? I certainly didn't. I looked right on her arm.
Are you saying this so that I can hear?
No, I thought we were a little bit away.
Sidebar.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was not intending to say any of that in front of you.
Blake,
Okay.
my question is related to the exam that I performed on Christy and whether or not any of the trauma that her body experienced would ring a bell at this moment when Octavian's asking about markings. Okay.
So, and then now let's talk to Kirsty. Let's get our little group together. And I say, now that we all can perceive things as they are, do any of you see this mask? And we've seen it on the video, but I described the mask again, the white and black features.
It's not anywhere. Neither is Archon's body, right, for that matter.
Right. I mean,
Surely you must know something, Octavian. How?
Oh, my dear, I know many, many things. Could you be more specific?
How do we cross over?
Wait,
Well,
you intend to cross into Metropolis, is that correct? Am I hearing this correctly? To go after your sister, is that your intent?
We have to save her.
Doctor, I don't think these security guards are going to let us leave this place until we find Archon's body. I mean, it's clearly not among the carnage in this pool.
He's not
So
here.
I have to assume that he has pierced the veil and is in what you call Metropolis. Do you have other plans? Any other evening appointments that you were planning to get to?
Perhaps survival would be nice, yes. I did have plans to survive.
Oh, so you're back with me, hoping to live. That is encouraging. If we could just get the girl on board, then we should have our work before us. I'm glad to hear that. I want to live as well. I intend to live. I'll use the future perfect tense. I shall survive. I always have.
Let me examine the bodies more closely.
Please. There's a hook over there for cleaning the pool if you need to reel in that one sort of by the center.
Davis, could you please, the one in the middle, could you fish him out?
Davis, who really doesn't seem to be bothered by any of this, walks over to the side and comes back with like this long net thing to clean the pool, and just like he's fishing out debris from the pool, just pulls the body close. And then him and another guy haul the body up onto the side of the pool.
So I'll just begin with the one that they just fished out, and I'm just going to go around. I'm going to be looking at them for signs of markings, as Octavian has suggested, perhaps on the surface of the skin, or perhaps even subdermal.
So one, I'll say that your workaholic will kick in and you can gain a stability as you're focusing your mind on this. And then I'll ask you to make a scientist roll. So roll on your reason.
Okay. I'm going to use an advantage on this.
Okay.
I don't really need to, but I guess I will anyways. 22.
You start examining them. Some of them have tattoos, very likely. None of them seem very meaningful. And then as you're manipulating them and you're thinking about everything he said, and then you think of what you just said, subdermal. And
I will begin to cut them and peel back their skin.
And as you do start to flay them, as you pull back the skin, you can clearly see marked on the underside of the flesh where the muscle is.
Yes.
Arcane symbols.
Yes, here it is. Yes.
You found something.
He continues, he like faster and faster as he's like he's skinning an animal.
I feel like the soundtrack really intensifies at this moment in a creepy way.
Look here, look at the markings, Octavian.
Yes. Do I see any of the iconography of like the Tree of Life in these tattoos?
No, not really, but you recognize some of the symbols from other things you've seen while involved in this, and then some of the things in the vault and things of that nature. And as you're looking at them, it's kind of like they light up. And give me a that thing you rolled earlier. Give me a
Dabbler in the occult.
Dabbler in the occult.
I got an 11.
All right. It looks complex. It looks perhaps a little bit at the extreme edge of your capacity. You do not doubt the veracity and the power of the ritual that is depicted here, and you're fairly certain you could probably enact it.
Is this it, Octavian? Is this the key to opening this portal?
Yes, it is. You best carve faster, my boy. There's many more chapters to go. It is a complex ritual.
So they've pretty much bled dry at this point because of the amount of carnage that Kirsty did. And so you start cutting them and removing the skin and laying it out like the pages of a book that you would lay out on the floor, or the ripped pages from a book that you would lay on the floor, trying to sort of put it back together. Everybody else looks at you like you're fucking nuts. A couple of them lose their lunch. But you very quickly manage to piece what you feel is probably a fairly complete version of the ritual.
I'll look over his shoulder and be like, no, put that thigh piece up there next to the shoulder.
What's Kirsty up to while they're doing this?
Appalled, disgusted. No, I think Kirsty's curious and watching, because she feels that between the two of them, there's a key there to get to the other side to get to what she wants. So she's just kind of watching on as they work.
And as you put this together, the voice of Hera comes back. Not the voice of Hera, rather, but the voice of Archon comes back, playing out throughout the room, the voice reverberating in this cavernous room. Julia and Kirsty, my brother's daughters, twins, but also different. It pained me to give Julia to Kether, as she was my favorite for many reasons. But Kether knew it was the greatest sacrifice, and so was right in demanding it. I could not hope to transcend with such ties to the physical world, holding back. Her mind, her very presence, stirred the blood and set my imagination ablaze. I now understand that it was her power as a quickener that did this. Comparatively, her sister Kirsty was always such a downer. She sucked the energy and joy and life out of the very rooms she entered. Somber silence of the most morose quality seemed to follow her like a cloud, a curse. Colors seemed paler around her, and while she looked almost identical to her sister, there was no curiosity in me was ever aroused. She is a thaumaturgic dampener, I now know, absorbing arcane energy like a sponge does water. The very fabric of the illusion shivers and starts to unravel around her. Only the drugs that dull her mind can keep the entire thing from shattering strand by strand. Her parents no doubt meant for her to serve Malkuth as they did, Malkuth the rebel, Malkuth the malcontent, who created this very prison she now seeks to destroy. But fortunately, Kether saw this in time. This will no longer be an issue. Now Kether calls for me to finish the work I have begun, of divesting myself of all attachments and connections of the blood on this world, the last step to my transcendence. I will offer Kirsty to Kether and give her body to the voivoids for consummation, and then I will be truly free of the last vestiges of humanity that hold me back.
Kirsty's glance is going to snap to Octavian. What is he talking about? Do you understand any of this?
A bit. The thaumaturgic quickener is like a... think of it as like a shot of a hit of methamphetamines to the occult process. It speeds up the power, perhaps, but the dampener, that would be you, my dear, have the opposite effect. Whatever, it's such a crude term, but whatever sort of spellcraft these entities, Kether, Malkuth, and the like, whatever they do is to maintain the illusion that we often struggle to see through. But by what your uncle has said, something tells me that you struggle less, that you have been able to see through this veil quite acutely, in fact, so acutely that you deaden yourself with these drugs, these other obsessions, whatever, I don't know. That's between you and your psychologist. But that it is those crutches that dampen, I guess, your ability to shatter the illusion. Now, what impact that shattering would have on you, I'd stay on the drugs, personally. But that's a decision for you to make for yourself, I suppose, my dear. But I think you should have heart, because what he said is that he gave your twin sister over to Kether. Not that he sacrificed and killed her, so I now believe that your sister probably is communicating to you. So,
I'm telling you this.
Well, I know, but now I agree, my dear. And if you agree with me and now the doctor again that you want to live, then surely the three of us will succeed in finding your sister and bringing her back.
I have to live. I don't have a choice.
Oh, good. If we get John on board, then we're at a full quorum. Now, how do you feel about participating in a ritual that will allow us to go into this other dimension?
Where do we begin?
Reading it, you feel pretty certain you can do it. It's mostly a lot of it you kind of feel is kind of theatrical. The core of it is some symbols that you have to draw, certain words and incantations you have to do, gestures, things of that nature. The only thing that's kind of really different from other things like this that you've seen before is that it really doesn't seem to make any sense. Like usually, the sort of fake rituals that you've come across, like the things all kind of seem to thematically match to each other, and it's kind of, it's kind of like written in a way or whatever that, that kind of makes sense in your mind. But this is just completely like you feel alienated and almost like you're going insane just by reading, even though you understand these things and you like they make no sense. And when you start thinking about them together, like you feel the sort of weirdness and alienness that's in them, and that more than anything else convinces you that there's probably real power in this. While you were doing all of that, the other ones, John and Santorino and this call, were having a discussion about this. They seem to have a bit of a disagreement, but in the end, Davis Call and John both felt that you needed to go across to get, like, there was no way, one, that you could explain this anyways to anybody else, and you need to bring back Archon's body, like we're talking about, the head of a multi-million-dollar transnational corporation. If he's just disappeared, it creates incredible legal headaches for everybody. So eventually they managed to convince Santorino, so everybody's kind of on board with this. The other security guards seem to be kind of nervous. Carla has managed to calm down. Probably the doctor has given her a little something to kind of take the edge off. And but she's clearly been affected by what she's seen. And so when it comes to the ritual, you can easily kind of orchestrate it and tell people sort of what to do and what they need to do. And, all the mise en scène that you saw that they were doing, like half naked with the sensor and all that, like you can tell that's just kind of like them getting in the mood maybe or something like that. Like none of that feels really germane to the thing. The most important part are the symbols that you will try to draw out around the pool area, and repeating the words and getting certain people to do certain things at certain time. You scour the top floor and find certain things that you need. You need something to make a sound, maybe like a bell or, things like that. So you kind of go around and scavenge things and kind of make do, but you get the sense that what's really important is the intention behind it. And so as you prepare to do this ritual, when you're ready to do it, I will ask you to do a dabbler in the occult roll. But before you do that, is there anything that anyone wants to do or say or, write their last words somewhere? Or... I don't like that smile, Dave.
My last words are probably muttered underneath my breath so no one can hear them.
Okay. So nobody else wants to do anything specific?
Kirsty suddenly remembers that she has another Valium on her, and she's gonna take that out and very quickly pop it in her mouth.
Just to take that edge off?
Yep.
The edge from all the cocaine.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, we're a roller coaster over here.
All right, so you will then begin the ritual and see what happens when you do that. So if you would, Dr. Chase, see, the first time I do it tonight.
It's a common misconception.
Damn it.
I will
give us a dabbler, because that is what you are. In
yes. I would like to use my one crowd provided advantage for this, which sadly I believe brings me to 0 crowd provided advantages. So anyway, I'm going to use that, and hopefully that will help with my roll. So let me quickly remember which It's souls that I add to this one. Okay. Oh, baby. $17.
Awesome. You perform every step correctly.
And as it's like getting near the end, he's like, you can see he's got like a pep in his step and he's getting smiley. Oh, it's gonna work.
Latu Verata.
I said the words.
That's if you roll 10 to 14.
Yeah, right.
Gaze upon the owlbear.
The owlbear gazes also into you.
Oh no.
As
Oh no, it's very red.
you begin the ritual, the light at the heart of the pool seems to intensify. The temperature around you keeps shifting. It gets very warm, it gets very cold. The people around you look like they're almost like shaking or moving in place, and then you realize that the world around you is doing that. It looks like there's cracks going up the side of the walls of the glass partitions around this building. The water itself starts to move, become agitated. The very fabric of the world that's around you starts to tear apart. As you continue, yes, exactly. As you continue to speak the words of the ritual, you see fear in the eyes of some of your companions. Some of them almost look like they want to sort of break and run. The symbol at the bottom of the pool seems to glow with a very unearthly intensity. Then everything shifts around you. Everything suddenly darkens. The very light that was emanating from the pool now seems to be sucked into it. You feel as if the entire world around you, the world that you've known all this time, is sort of swirling and going down this drain and sort of emptying out into this very symbol at the bottom of this pool that is now glowing with this intense dark purple light. And all of you feel the energy, the magical power that's emanating through it ripple through you. It gets under your skin, it gets deep inside of you, and it shakes you to your very core. Kersey, you find yourself at a dining room table in some dilapidated house you've never seen before. You see your mother, your father, and your sister sitting at the table eating in silence. You're sitting with them. The plate in front of you is filled with food. You don't feel hungry. Everyone's eating in silence, their heads down. Almost as if you're not there. You look at them, but it's almost as if they don't notice you. And then suddenly you realize your sister is not there anymore. And when you kind of look around, you see the door to the dining room slowly close, and you hear your sister calling to you from behind the door. Come on, Kirsty, come on. Let's go.
Julia?
Come on. The voice is a little further.
Mom? Dad?
When you look back, your parents are no longer there. You're alone at this table. The food has spoiled and rotted away. There's worms in it. From even further still, come on, Christy.
She kind of
Last one down's a rotten egg.
pushes back from the table and gets up and runs to the door and runs towards her sister's voice. Julia, I'm here. Julia, where are you?
When you open the door, you see this strange long corridor in front of you. You can just make out the form of your sister disappearing through a door at the other end. Her voice calling out to you still. This corridor is very strange. It's unlike anything you've ever seen before. You can hear pipes clanging. You can feel a sort of oppressiveness inside of it, like there's something bad going on around here. Are you okay? It's okay. Do you need the Heimlich?
Allergy season.
I think it's the Coke and the Valium.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a minute? I can go to somebody else for... As you walk down this corridor, there are doors. It's almost kind of like a motel corridor or something like that, perhaps, but there are doors as you go along. You hear voices as you pass them. In the first room, you hear your father's voice saying, well, it's not because they're twins that they're going to be exactly the same. I mean, so what? So Julia's smarter and she's doing better at school. Kirsty will be okay. She'll work it out. And your mom says, it's just so frustrating. Like I help her as much as I help the other one, and it's just not getting through her thick skull. Continue walking down the hall.
Yeah.
Pass another door, you hear a voice. It takes you a while to place it back, but then eventually you realize it's the voice of your nanny from when you were a kid, who would be there when you and Julia came home after school because your parents would come in a bit late from work and so on and so forth. And she was just a little old lady that lived a few houses away, but she was kind of like your auntie to you, and you loved her very much, and she was always so nice, and she would bring you sweets, little caramels for you and your sister. And you hear her talking, you think maybe to your parents, and she says, Julia's an angel, but honestly, if you don't have a serious talk with Kirsty, I'm not going to be able to keep doing this. That child's a demon child. She just absolutely robs me of any joy I have in doing this job and being with her sister. Are you raising them differently or something? She's such a disappointment.
I just, as I'm traversing the hall, it's like the life is just slowly being sucked out of me. And I just feel this oppressive guilt building up. But I'm gonna keep moving, and I'm so determined to find my sister now.
As you near the door at the end of the hall, there's one more door. As you pass it, you hear a woman's voice say, she's no good for you. How many times am I going to have to say this, Ted? And then you hear Ted's voice go, it's not like that. I can see through it. I can see who she is. You should see her when she's just with me, when she's doing fine. She's the most wonderful person, but she just constantly, every time, just finds a way to just ruin everything and just make everything, even when it's going so well and I feel like there's a real connection, maybe we're getting somewhere, it's like she does it on purpose. She'll find a way to just ruin it and just tear my heart out every fucking time. And the other voice says, you just gotta let it go. Look, she's gone. You have no clue. She's gonna end up dead in a ditch somewhere. That's what happens to girls like her. She's just going to end up dead in a ditch like somewhere. Now, don't say that. It's the truth. You just got to face up to it, Ted. She's no good for you, and you're wasting yourself and whatever love you have left to give inside of you on this black hole.
I'm sorry, Ted. She kind of just pauses and looks at the door for a minute. I can't be distracted. Julia? She keeps walking down the corridor.
You push through the fire exit at the end of the hallway, and you find yourself in this garden, overgrown, the grass everywhere, the bushes, the trees, just not at all well maintained. It looks like wild nature. And as you come down a set of stone steps, you can see a pool that is glinting, a shallow wading pool that is glinting in the moonlight. And you can hear Julia's voice say, "Come on, Kirsty, you're going to be the rotten egg." And then you hear the sound of splish splashing as you can hear her get into this wading pool and start to kind of walk and jump around. And you know, once you turn the corner, you're going to be down there and see the pool.
Yeah, I keep progressing. I keep moving towards her voice.
When you come around the corner, you see Julia. She's face down in the pool, floating. Out of the corner of your eye, you see something move, and as you look down the path, you see the back of someone, a man. You're not 100% sure who he is, wearing a summer suit and just sort of walking away. And as he's walking away, he's brushed up against a rocking horse that's there on a rock on the side. And as he brushes past it, the rocking horse starts to rock back and forth. And you stand on the edge of the pool. You can see that the pool is surrounded by your mother's Japanese camellia bushes. And in the middle of it, your sister Julia, floating face down, not moving.
I know this memory really well. And in my mind, I'm telling myself, don't do it again. You have to save her. You fucked up the first time. You have to save her this time. And so I just dive into the pool and I start rushing towards her and trying to collect her.
As you go through the pool and you realize you're a grown adult now, you're no longer a little girl, but she's still a little girl, and you're going through this pool and it keeps getting deeper and deeper. It's just a wading pool. It's supposed to be a few feet, but it gets deeper and deeper. And just before you get to reach her, the water's right under your neck and it's threatening to kind of get over you, and you're trying to move forward and you're having difficulty just as you're about to reach her. Mr. Chase, you open the door and it opens on some sort of television studio, like a newsroom. You realize you're muted.
Are there any other people there?
You don't see anyone.
Are the lights on, the studio lights?
They're dimmed, like the studio's closed down. The screens are up. You see various news from around the world playing, and there are a couple lights here and there.
I turn around and look for my friends.
You turn around and the door behind you is closed. Hello,
back.
Phineas.
I look to see if I can find the source of whoever just said that.
When you turn around, you see sitting in the interviewer's chair your friend Anson.
I immediately look to Anson's left hand.
Which is missing. Come on down, Phineas. It's about time we have a little chat, don't you think? Come have a seat. Look,
I thought
there's water.
I might find you here, old friend, but I insist. The name is Octavian Chase.
Oh, we both know better than that, don't we? Breaking news. His name is not Octavian Chase. Does he have secrets to hide? Is he perhaps concealing a sordid past more at 12?
I'm on a very important mission here, Anson. I do not have time for charades. Charades, I'm sorry. I don't have time for charades.
Well, that's interesting because I happen to have perhaps not a charade, but a little bit of a riddle for you. I think you should sit down with me here. It won't take long.
Very well.
You'll find it very interesting.
I sit down and I look to the camera to see if there's a light on the camera.
It does. Bling, light on. And on the screens around, you see the two of you, and you hear the sound of an audience.
Both unsettled because the audience isn't there, but normally calm in front of a studio audience. I'm between two worlds at this point and not sure what to make of it. So I try to put on a face like I'm in control.
Dear God, is that a handkerchief in your pocket? A pocket square? Are you
a pocket square? Yes.
Are you wearing a pocket? Next thing you know, you'll be wearing an ascot.
Perhaps next week once I learn to tie it, yes.
You've changed so much.
We all become the people we most want to be. That's the American dream.
Well, you know what would make tying an ascot difficult? Having only one hand. Speaking of your hands, how are they doing these days?
They're fine, and he puts them in his lap.
Oh, don't do that. Show them to us. The people want to see. You want to see, right, people? And then you hear yeah, and applause. Come on. Show the people your hands.
He raises his hands, and they're the white cotton gloves that he's been wearing the whole time. And he says, I think the studio audience would prefer not to see certain things. I, honest to God, don't really like looking at them myself.
Au contraire, my friend. I think they'd be very interested in seeing what you're hiding behind these Mickey Mouse gloves of yours.
Let's
take a look. Let's take a look. Look, you owe me that much.
It's simply the result of an accident. It is too horrific to show on television, I am afraid.
Take off your fucking gloves. And then the audience goes, ooh.
Does he look angry?
He looks still very passive, but there's an intensity in his eyes now, yeah. You've seen this intensity before. That day that he came to your apartment asking for that amulet, he had that same look in his eyes.
Anson, you know, I am very self-conscious about my hands. Why would you?
Because you're very self-conscious about your hands, and I think it's perhaps time that you learn to be proud of who you are and what you've done.
I am Octavian Chase. I have appeared on both the British and American editions of Antiques Roadshow. I have one book on consideration at several major New York publishers. I have plenty to be proud of, I assure you, and...
You're a fucking fake, a fraud. You know it, and I know it. Come on, Phineas Thneed. Show us your hands. I'll tell you what, you show me your hands, and I'll stop using your real name. Deal?
How about if I do what you ask, you leave me alone. You do not appear in phantasmagoric visions. You do not appear in my dreams. You do not speak through my Ouija boards. You do not attempt to communicate with me in any way. This is it. This is your big reward. You've lost a hand, and then I reveal mine in front of the whole world. That makes us even, doesn't it, Anson?
Deal.
Very well.
The cameras focus on your hands. You see
Ladies
them.
and gentlemen, I cannot be held accountable for what I am being asked to do. This old friend of mine wishes for me to reveal myself in front of you, my beloved studio audience, and those of you out there at home. Know that it is Anson's doing. I advise you to turn your heads away from your television screens. This will be as difficult for you as it is for me.
You've always been such a fucking ham.
Tries to not pay attention to that, but it's clearly bothering him. And one by one, he slowly picks at the tips of the cloth glove, slowly pulling it from his hand. In his mind, he knows what is going to be revealed, the hideous monstrosity that he has been afflicted with now for years, ever since he started dabbling in the occult, as he himself has grown more comfortable in his skin, more handsome, with a better way with words. His hands have withered and transformed into something truly monstrous. And now before the world, he cannot bear to look at his hands as he finally removes the glove and holds his open palm up to the camera without the courage to look himself at the monster he has become.
There's a pause and a faint murmur of disappointment from the crowd. Oh. Fraud to the bitter end. Fraud all the way to the tip of your fingernails, aren't you?
I turn, almost like as if I'm just like angry at what he has said. But of course my hand then is now in betwixt my eyes and his face, and I can't help but sort of accidentally catch a look at my eye. What do I see?
They're probably a little dry from being in gloves so much all the time, but other than that, they're perfectly fine. I mean, could stand to get a manicure maybe, but...
It's just immediately, like, just awkwardly and quickly just takes off the other glove and just looks at his other hand.
Perfectly fine also.
Monstrous.
I guess the monstrosity's not in the hands then, is it? I'm sorry, people. I thought we had a scoop here for you, and you hear people kind of disappointed. People are booing. You can hear sounds of the crowd leaving. People are like, oh, fuck this, you know. Such an anticlimax.
I have a radio hypnotic crystal here somewhere. I could do a performance. I don't want to lose the audience.
Listen to me, buddy. You went there. You went to the antique shop. You saw what happened. You saw their dead bodies.
I saw what you did, Anson.
Let's try to figure this out. We know, couldn't do this. I mean, some people think you did because you were stupid and you took some stuff from that scene and you left your bloody footprints all over the fucking place. Right? So some people think you did.
It's not my fault that I wear a rare shoe that is easily traced back to me.
But we both know you're too much of a fucking chicken shit to do that. Now,
to murder a family in cold blood. Yes,
And don't forget Keith. Keith was there also, murdered brutally,
I don't see why that is any
ripped apart.
I don't see how that is my issue. It was your hand that was left at the scene. Can you explain that? I saw your thumb ring. It must have been you. You'd been coveting my amulet all along. Did something push you over the edge? Why did you do it? Why did you tie me to this crime that's like a lodestone around my neck? I can't get anything that I want with you doing it like that.
That's the Phineas I know. Well, think of it this way. I didn't have the amulet, did I? No, you had it. So if I didn't have the amulet, how could I have done this? And now ask yourself this one question. If I couldn't do it because I didn't have the amulet, and you didn't do it because you don't have the courage, let's face some facts. Who did? Who did? Who cut off my hand and left it there? Who killed those people?
You never know the actual stories about the things that you want to steal, did you, Anson? You never cared to ask, never cared to do the research. You was the grab man, the bag man, but never the one who understood. It wasn't just a pretty amulet that you was trying to nick off of me, Anson. It wasn't just some bauble that I took out of a lady's coffin. It was the voice of pain, Anson. Do you remember that amulet?
I do.
Do you know what happened to that amulet, Anson? When you murdered that family and that coworker, you didn't have the amulet, but I did. And you know where it's been ever since that day? Every single day? It's been right here, right in my pocket. It's the voice of pain, Anson. Do you remember it? Do you still want it?
I'll tell you what I want. He reaches out and clasps your hand. Your hand with the amulet around it. What do you do?
I just look at him right in the eye and I say, it wasn't you who killed him, and it wasn't me. It was Golad, the torturer. Golad, the scream in the abyss, the burning one. You meddled with the angels of death, Anson, and they took your hand. Now unhand me.
He pulls back from you, and as he does, you see your flesh has kind of melted, and it's stuck to his hand, like as if you had put your hand on a hot plate or something. It would come, the skin pulls off, and as it does, your skin starts to turn black.
Black. Am I still holding the amulet?
The amulet you see is shattered, and it's falling to the ground. And this blackness is crawling up your arm, up your, almost all the way up to your elbow. And as you're seeing this and panicking and feeling this, he leans in close and goes, if I didn't do it and you didn't do it, you better find out who did, because I won't leave you alone until you do.
But I took off the glove. You promised.
The room is dark now. You're sitting there alone on a couch.
I look
Your
at my
hand
hand.
is black.
I look at the door. Has anybody come through? Is anybody following me? Is my other hand normal?
Yeah.
I take that hand and I just start putting on the glove. I'm gonna hide that black hand. I want to hide that.
As you put it on, the skin peels off and it flakes off almost like it's burnt, and it's like charcoal that's kind of flipping. When you manage to pull the glove over it, and when you have the glove over it, it burns. You can feel the fabric of it catching into like every little nook and crevice, and you know when you take it off, it's just going to pull all that off again every time you pull it off and pull it back on.
She'll never remove this stuff.
And then I turn as if back where Anson was, before things shifted or whatever. I assume the whole
All you see is
and everything.
The door with the exit sign lit above it.
The best of me, Anson. You'll never get the best of Phineas Mead.
Doctor, you come through the door. And walk into a room that is quite disgusting, quite damaged, falling apart. It looks like perhaps an old hospital room of some sort. There is a bed in one corner with what looks like perhaps a body bag or something on it. There's a computer and some scientific equipment in one corner. The ground is covered with some sort of foul-smelling liquid that looks like perhaps old blood mixed in with various other chemicals, whatnot. There's a single light bulb that is burning and shedding light on this particular scene. The walls are old and covered with soot and just dry nastiness. And as you walk in, you recognize this room from a long time ago, a place where you used to do some of your work, a special little laboratory that you have tucked away in the nook at the Palms. But it certainly didn't look like this. It was cutting edge. It had all the best equipment. It was a sterile room. You had literally every advantage, every scientific advantage money could buy, you had.
Take a step forward, recognizing the place, and then I immediately turn to try the door.
As you turn to try the door, there are three people standing in front of you. They are dressed in like hospital gowns. Their heads are shaved, and all of them have blood running from multiple wounds around the skull. And in unison, they say, "Why?"
I expected to find you here. I heard your calls, I heard your voices, but I couldn't hear your message.
Together they say, "That's because you were not ready. You were too far on the other side. But now that you've come, she can speak to you."
The Queen. Yes, I was invited here by the Queen. That is why I did what I did, to try to find a way to cross the barrier. We are all here together now. Don't you see? The Queen. Is the Queen here?
One of them raises a hand and points to the wall. When you turn, you see the sign that you saw on that card that you were given as a sort of graffiti on the wall. She's not far. She is sending someone, one of her favorite agents, to speak with you. If you wish to know more, you should speak with her. And then one of them says, "That is, if you truly want to understand, if you truly want to see the truth." And then the other one says, "But why would you? Wasn't it just sadistic pleasure that made you do what you did?"
Oh no, I was meant to unravel the mysteries between.
Why you? What makes you so special?
Because I was willing to push. I was willing to go beyond where my colleagues had dropped and stopped. I was willing to try things that they would never have tried.
Why?
For science, for understanding.
Why?
to help myself. Science. To push science forward. Yes. It was what I was meant to do. That is my calling. We are called, are we not? You were called. Were you not? Called?
We were not called. We were taken against our will. You chose us. We did not ask for this. You made that decision for us. You chose to play God. Is that it? Do you believe yourself a god? Doctor, are you a god?
No, I do not believe that is my destiny. I was simply utilizing the resources at my disposal.
Have you ever thought, Doctor, that maybe being a god is not your destiny, but rather your past? Who you were, who you used to be. That perhaps more than any others, you still feel this, you still see this, you still understand this somehow, and this is the door you're trying to open. You were trying to return to that time, return to godhood.
To find my way back.
And what are you willing to do, Doctor, to find your godhood?
I'm willing to do what it takes.
You are alone in the room now. They are no longer there. The computer at the far end of the room comes to life.
I approach it.
There is the symbol that you've seen before on the screen, and underneath it, the words "Enter access card."
He pulls out the card that he had found in Carlisle's pocket and enters it into the machine.
As you slide it in, you see unfurling on the screen everything you've ever done that was of dubious morality. Everything flashes, everything plays out as if it had been filmed from a point of view outside your own, and as these things unfold, you see them slowly being erased, and they start to disappear. The speakers on the computer, a little green light turns on, and you hear a voice, which is the voice of Hera that you heard in the building. It says, "The illusion is your prison." It is what William Blake called the mind-forged manacles, the separation between who you are now and who you used to be, in order to bring down this wall, in order to return to the greatness that you once had. The illusion must be shattered. There are many like you who work tirelessly through experiments, through rituals, through other means. They seek to shatter this illusion, to show the world for what it is. God is dead. God has died a long time ago. He was called the Demiurge. He disappeared a long time ago. And when he did, his lieutenants imprisoned all the other gods that existed in the world. They imprisoned all of you, keeping you stupid, docile, obsessed with earthly pleasures, so that you do not see the cracks in the illusion around you, so that you do not seek to regain what is rightfully yours. Godhood.
The minute we stepped foot on the upper floors of the tower, I knew it to be true. I was frightened before that, but then overcome with a sense of welcome.
Good. Some of your companions will not share this vision. You must be wary of them. But some of them do. Seek out the ones who do. Try to make them understand.
Yes, we will make them understand.
The Queen accepts your service.
And so it shall be.
For the first time in a long time, you don't have this feeling of ghosts hovering around you, of whispers in your ear. You feel something you haven't felt in a long time. The absence of guilt.
Stand up from the computer. Looking around the room, does it look different? Does it?
No, you get the feeling that what you're seeing is probably what that room in your building actually really looks like.
Mm-hmm.
What you can see before, the decay, the confining walls, the dirt, the grime, the darkness. You feel almost like it's suffocating you, like you need to tear down the walls, break down the door.
I will do that. I will fly into sort of a fit of ecstatic rage and joy at the same time and begin to like tear this place apart. Sort of those fits of violence from my past sort of coalescing into like this kernel of purity, of angry purity.
As you tear it down, light starts pouring in through the holes that you're creating. You find that the more you tear, the easier it becomes to tear. The whole panels of walls are coming out. And then suddenly this light grows so bright that it blinds you. The three of you come awake. The sky above you is obliterated, defaced by the tall smokestacks and glittering obsidian towers that rise up to meet it, pierce it even with malice. No light shines down from the heaven here, but a dark red moon glows feebly behind clouds of chemical dust and the smoke of charnel pits where the bodies of the innocent are burned to a crisp. The air itself feels made of lead. It oppresses like the ringing of church bells on mourning day. Pale faces and hooded eyes seem to watch you from darkened alleyways and blacked-out windows. Soot and grime covers every wall, and a fine ash seems to be raining down from the opaque skies. Behind every door, behind every window, you can feel the presence of obscene things, those things that haunt the minds of those who once called mad, but now realize were just people who truly saw, the reality hidden behind the veils of deceit drawn before your very eyes. The vistas of hell would pale in comparison to this. As you gaze upon the horror landscape that now stands before you, real and indelible, you know one thing for certain. God, whatever it was, is dead. To your left, from an alley shrouded in darkness, at the mouth of which murky, brackish liquid is pooling like rancid saliva from some horrific maw, you hear noise, something awakening, sniffing the air, hungry. You hear Davis Call's voice go, "Get the fuck up! They're coming! Come on, move, move, move!" As you come to, you realize you're in a strange alley. The walls, the buildings around you look like old Victorian buildings, taken straight from another time. There's junk all over the place. You can hear machinery working behind the walls. You can hear the tick-tocking of giant mechanical constructions just everywhere around you, almost deafening the sound of furnaces blasting. As you awaken in this alley, you find yourselves over here, crowded together. The three of you are here. With you is Carla and Davis Call. The others are not there. Davis has his gun out and he's looking down the alley from where you saw the sounds, and he's grabbing you, pulling you, trying to get you up. As you look over from where the sounds are coming, you see a couple of shambling figures, one of them walking sort of on all fours. They look like desiccated corpses almost, that are walking towards you. As they're slowly crawling, one of them is crawling over the rooftop coming at you, and two others are coming down the other end of the alley. Davis is like, "Come on, let's go. We gotta run. We can't fucking fight these things. Let's go." What do you do?
I want to look down at my right hand.
You have a glove.
Is it gooey underneath? Does it hurt?
It hurts.
I'm going to look at these creatures and I'm going to follow directions. I'm going to help run, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, Kirsty's gonna run as well.
Doctor.
He stands there for a minute just smiling at these creatures as they're clawing their way towards him.
They're making this weird sort of chatter with their teeth, like their teeth are, as they're slowly approaching and sort of sniffing the air. They seem to maybe be blind or something, and they're operating on their sense of smell.
For a moment, he hesitates as his friends are like running or moving away, and he almost takes a step forward, but then he looks over his shoulders at his friends and turns and follows them.
Carla is just kind of frozen there looking at them, doesn't know what to do. Davis Call reaches out, grabs her hand, and pulls her. You start running down here. So I'm going to ask each of you to give me a act under pressure roll, please.
I'm going to use my last advantage. Thank you, chat.
Act under pressure is coolness?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
16 for the doctor.
Perfect.
It's wow, 13 for me. A lot of 13s tonight. Apparently my lucky number.
3.
You start running down this alley, and so Kirsty, you were the first to say you were running, and you made your roll, so you'll head down around the corner like this. The doctor following you close up on your heels. Davis was kind of hauling back, pulling her. As they kind of catch up to you, you look over your shoulders, you see them coming, maybe thinking that it's one of these enemies that's catching up to you, and you see Davis and pulling Carla, and as you kind of turn around, you run right smack first into one of these piles of barrels. You tip over it and you go rolling on the ground. Give me an avoid harm roll.
All right.
Avoid harm is your roll plus reflexes.
Okay.
Actually, it's not avoid harm. I'm sorry. It's endure injury. I'm going to need from you. So you roll your fortitude.
Okay. I got a 10.
All right, you got a 10. You're still standing. However, you lose something. You hear something clattering behind you on the ground. You take one wound as you kind of pitch head first and hit the ground, and you hear this sound sort of clattering, and Davis, as he comes by, grabs you under the arm and goes, "Come on, Chase, move it!" As he pulls you up and starts dragging you along with him. You run around the corner, the lot of you. You find yourselves running along what suddenly is this giant Gothic cathedral that is just sort of there in the middle of this sort of, 1800s London kind of alleyway. This giant cathedral just rises up ahead of you, and as you come around and you look up to take in the size of it, you can see further beyond, back behind the smoke, there are a number of giant towers, and you can just kind of see their outline, but they're much taller than everything else, and there seems to be like a lot of them sort of further down into this city, just sort of peeking through. You come around the corner here, being pulled along by Davis running. So we'll say that Kirsty and the doctor have sort of managed to get up there. The other three of you are sort of running through here. As you run through here, one of these creatures that was following you comes right out of this archway there, as it kind of just sort of comes right barreling right at you guys. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna try to dodge out of the way.
Okay, doctor.
He's just gonna kind of stand there while it comes out and just kind of like smiling, not really understanding what this is all about at this point. But yeah, he's not gonna make any moves to avoid it.
Okay, from behind you, you know that there's still a couple more coming. You can see them, Octavian, coming up sort of behind you. What would you like to do, Octavian, as you're running as fast as you can, knowing you've dropped something behind there, but just at this point, you kind of like, I just got to go. You're kind of being pushed and dragged by Davis, who's also kind of dragging Carla. And as you look up, just a few steps away from where Kirsty is, this other creature comes out of that archway right at her. What do you do?
I'm very concerned about Kirsty, but in my head, the little tink, tink, tink sound of whatever I dropped is just thundering like... And without even a second glance toward Kirsty, who's being horrifically menaced by this monster, and with just a mask of fear on his face, Octavian reaches into his pocket looking for the radio hypnotic crystal of Dr. Elmer Knowles, just to reassure himself that wasn't the item that he dropped. He's looking and he's looking.
Unfortunately, it's not there.
He turns to call and again, totally ignoring Kirsty, totally ignoring the monster, and he grabs Call by the arm and he says, "We must go back!
Are you fucking nuts? Keep running!"
No, I can't! He's just fucking freaking out like an idiot.
Give me a keep it together roll.
Okay.
All right, so Kirsty, you're going to try to dodge, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so go ahead and give me an avoid harm roll, which is a roll plus your reflex.
I'm gonna use one of my advantages on this.
Okay.
I got a 12.
An 11 for me.
All right, so with the 12 for keeping it together, you manage to just keep your wits enough about you to sort of not lose your shit completely. However, you do have to choose one of the following conditions. You are either angry, sad, scared, guilt-ridden.
Okay, that's easy. I'm going to choose scared. And just to fuck us a little bit harder, I was saying I was clawing at Call. It's his gun arm that I'm trying to grab onto and, get him to pay attention to me.
All right.
So you got to pay attention. It's the focus of all my power.
One, you lose one stability. I'm sorry, Dave, I didn't see your message until just now, your last message.
No worries. Yeah, no worries.
Apologies. What was I saying? Yeah, so you lose one stability, Octavian. as you're pawing at him, and he's like, fucking let go, and he's like kind of trying to get away because he's looking at sort of what's going on ahead. Kirsty, you made your roll. You did a avoid harm. You avoid what you rolled.
11.
11. You avoid the worst of it, but I get to decide if you end up in a bad spot, lose something, or partially sustain harm. So what's going to happen, Kirsty, is while you avoid the lumbering attack of this thing that's coming at you, you unfortunately dodge just the wrong way, and you find yourself kind of stuck here behind these things with this thing there. The doctor's just over there. So instead of kind of getting past him, you dodge the attack of him, but kind of your foot rolls and you kind of roll on the ground, and you find yourself sort of in the middle of all this junk that's there on the side of the thing. Davis's call is going to try to get his gun arm free from
You've got to go back. It's so important. It was the first item I ever got.
He's got a 14. So I'm going to say that he manages to sort of pull it away from him, but in doing this, he trips you and you fall. Chase, you fall on the ground, and Carla's like, Mr. Chase, and she comes over and she tries to sort of help you. And these creatures are now almost
Carla,
on top of you. What do you wish to do?
Doctor is going to step forward and look over at Kirsty and just say, "There's nothing to be afraid of anymore, Kirsty. Nothing at all." And then he just looks up at this menacing creature, almost as if he's like waiting to be welcomed into, the arms of a good dear friend.
What's Kirsty doing?
She's just like bewildered by the doctor and his reaction to everything. Does it look like the creature is going for the doctor, or is it coming for me?
Difficult to tell.
Difficult to tell. Okay. I just kind of ready myself with my knife out, and I look at the doctor. I say, "Are you fucking crazy?"
Are you preparing yourself just to dodge or something, or are you going to try and attack the creature?
I am preparing myself that if this creature lunges at me, I am going to hope that it falls on my blade.
Okay. Back there, what's Octavian doing? You're on the ground, and Carla's trying to help you to get up. You see Chase, Davis Call is trying to bring up his gun to try and shoot, but the doctor's right in the way, and like
chaos. I'm going to try to help lean into Carla's assistance and stand up.
Okay. So, you will do this. She will manage to kind of grab you and help you up, and I will have you do a we'll call it a act under pressure. Give me another act under pressure roll to see if you can sort of stay a step ahead of these things.
Okay.
Call, seeing that he can't take a shot at all up front because the doctor's right in the way, will turn around and fire at one of these creatures. Thankfully, he's a pretty good shot. The 3 bullets kind of hit in the chest and the head, and one of these creatures falls down, shot to bits by this gun. What did you get on your key?
11.
On your 11? All right, so you managed to get up, but since it's not a complete success, you managed to get up and to kind of get away, but as you do, you kind of disengage yourself from Carla, and she goes tumbling and falls to the floor. What do you do?
I'm going to reach out my left hand and say, "Carla, we must go!"
And with that, she will reach out and grab your hand just as 2 of these things are kind of coming on top of you. Over here, the good doctor is just sort of beaming at this thing, waiting to be embraced. And this thing decides that it's going to do just that, and it turns around and with ferocity jumps on the doctor and sort of envelops you with its arms and legs. Give me an endure injury roll, unless you tell me you want to try to dodge it, like when you see it's coming for you. Do you try to get out of the way, or do you just let it happen?
No, he's in full acceptance of the beauty of this place.
Give me an injury roll, which is your roll plus your fortitude.
Oh, okay. Total of 10.
All right. As this thing reaches out and grabs you, it sinks its teeth right here into your shoulder. And you feel the teeth crunch the bone of your clavicle and you just grind your shoulder into nothing. You take a serious wound, my man, as this thing just rips totally into you. Kirsty, you see this. What do you do?
I am going to try to get up to a stand and stab this creature in the back with my knife.
All right, go for it. Remember, the knife gives you a bonus
Yes.
to your attack roll.
Yes.
It's a +2 on your violence.
Yep. Okay.
Violence. So you're trying to so you roll your roll plus your violence.
I'm gonna use another one of my advantages.
Go for it.
Ooh. Okay, that is a 15.
That's a pretty nice.
Pretty nice.
Big damage to your opponent. And
good.
so you come up behind this thing and you slam down the knife right at the base of its neck in the back, and you feel it ripping down, and you feel this knife vibrate as it does this, as it plunges into this thing, and the creature yells out this huge death rattle as it like rips away from the doctor, and you can see exposed bone and muscle here where the doctor's shoulder used to be. The doctor falls back. This thing kind of turns around and goes to lunge at you, but with your 15, you manage to sort of just back away enough, and it falls to its knees and then lays down on the ground in front of you with your knife just sticking out of the back. What do you all do? So you are reaching out for Carla, and as these two creatures are barreling down on you, what will you do? You've managed to kind of pick her up. She's kind of halfway up. These creatures are right in your face. What do you want to do, Octavian?
I say, Carla, we must run. If we survive, I shall give you a $100 bonus. And I just kind of try to pull her down the street and run the hell away.
She seems pretty motivated when you say that. So I will say you're going to make another act under pressure, but this time she's helping you. So you can make it with an advantage, as she's also kind of like going along and sort of trying to get out of the way. What will the good doctor do at this point, having now sustained this serious injury where your left arm now is completely useless and like blood is just pouring down?
He's just gonna like put his hand up to the wound and like kind of almost sink his fingers into it and kind of pull himself up and stagger towards with the table that's right there, as if trying to find something to steady himself. And then he kind of looks back to see where his friends are, and he looks over to see the corpse. They're beautiful. It's beautiful, isn't it, Kirsty?
The doctor has left the building.
Oh, God.
God damn.
And what's Kirsty doing now with all this?
Kirsty is retrieving her knife out of the monster's back, while saying, you fucking lost it. You finally fucking lost it. Nothing about this is beautiful. What the hell is wrong with you?
And what would you do? Do you want to take an action of some sort, or?
I'm gonna turn and kind of.
Now you could, if you wanted, you could do something like, you could try to get him to kind of snap out of it, maybe, or something like that. Like you could do a influence other roll if you wanted, to try and kind of get him to like, you know.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do that.
And, all right. So you're gonna roll plus your soul.
Oh, perfect.
I'm sorry. Maybe I lied to you. I was looking. Your roll plus your charisma.
Oh.
Yeah, it's still all right. That is a 13.
All right. So with a 13, you get to choose one of the options below. Hold on.
Which move did she take?
She took influence others. I'm just trying to. with the PC, with a 13, you get to choose one of the options below, which is you make the doctor motivated to do what you ask, or you make the doctor worried of the consequences if they don't do what you ask.
I can my motivation be slapping him?
Yeah, however you achieve it. But
yeah. I'm just gonna walk up to him and just wail across his face and just be like, "Snap the fuck out of it, doctor. We need you now."
So do you want to make him, like I said, motivated to do what you ask, or
motivated to do what I ask?
All right, so they fold that into your role playing. You feel motivated to, like, whatever your character's feeling right now. Like you this doesn't oblige you to do anything. Yes. But if you do what she asks, it gives you a bonus and your character. So just fold down to your role playing. We'll come back to you in a second. Think on it. We'll just take care of what's going on back there. So as the two of you, what did you get on your?
I got a 14.
All right, so that's good. So you run out. You manage to kind of stumble through along with Carl. Just as you come up and you see Kirsty just wail into the face of the doctor and just screaming at, and the doctor's got blood running down everywhere. You can see bone jutting out of his shoulder, and he's kind of holding that together, and he's just got this look on his face like, oh, this place is one, and she just wails into him. And as you run forward, you hear behind you, you hear gunfire. You're not looking to see what's going on, but you hear gunfire going on behind you. But you arrive there. So Dave, then what's the good doctor doing now?
He takes the slap. Yes, you're right, Kirsty. We're not through here yet.
Jesus,
lead the way then.
Christ. Let's go.
You start running. You hear more gunfire erupting behind you. Eventually, you round the corner and arrive almost like you've gone somewhere else into a completely sort of different world. You turn the corner and you find yourself in a sort of derelict storage area with huge containers, metal containers like you would find in a shipyard or something like that. There's a bit of a construction going on in the corner. There's like a building that's kind of half finished. And as you come running around the corner, hearing still more gunfire, you'll come around here, all four of you running. And if you turn around and kind of look back a little bit, you'll see that Davis is running behind you, and he's turning and he's shooting. And as you come around here, you'll see a woman who steps out from around the door here at the bottom, and she goes, "Dr. LeVay, over here, quickly, doctor."
Yes, of course. This way.
Do we recognize the woman?
As you run towards that woman, you recognize the voice of Hera that you heard throughout the building. And Mr. Chase, you recognize Nedra, the woman from
misconception.
You recognize Nedra, the woman from Earth and Salt, who, amongst other things, in the past has sold you the Vox Anima.
I looked at Carla and I say,
"Oh, it's the lady with the wine bottle opener." I think the doctor's bleeding. Is he hurt? Maybe we should get someone to look at him.
Let's get to safety. Come along, Carla.
So do you follow this woman?
Indeed.
Yeah. I assume Carla and I have had friendly relations with her in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
As we get closer, I guess I'll just be Nedra?
Mr. Chase, please follow along.
Yes. Okay, I do.
A lot of you will enter this building. It looks like an abandoned warehouse, and Davis comes in sort of right behind you. She'll be like, "Let's hurry up. They won't follow us too deep in here, but we have to get a little further in for safety." She'll lead you down a bunch of corridors, this giant warehouse complex, and you move around. Eventually, you sort of go down some stairs, and eventually you find yourselves at the bottom of this kind of dilapidated stairwell area where there's like a bunch of junk on the ground. There's this weird smell of like, old things, kind of, mold and things like that. And this looks like it maybe used to be a shopping mall or something like that. And fucking solutions maps are just off the hook. And as you arrive at the bottom, you see 2 escalators that are, of course, not working. But she's like, come on, let's get upstairs. They won't follow us through here.
What are they, Nedra?
Nachtkinder.
Night children?
Yes. Let's get up there. Let's get to safety, and we can talk once we're up there. You hear a little bit more gunfire, and then Davis Call comes running around, reloading his gun, and the lot of you climb up to the top floor here. And as you arrive, you see that there's kind of a little setup here where there's like a table with a computer. There's like a little power generator there. And she's got like, some gear and some equipment and whatnot. Am I missing anyone? Yeah, missing Doctor. You climb up. As you're climbing up, Doctor, you're starting to get weak. You got a serious wound. You're basically like, you're dying right now. And as you start climbing up those stairs, you can feel it. Like your blood is just leaking out of you. And you literally feel like you're about to die. Like, as a doctor, you're like moments away unless something happens. You're moments away from...
Can I go over to him and try to stabilize him at all? Is there anything I can do?
Certainly try to do that.
I imagine as you approach him, he's still got his fingers like inside of his wound, kind of holding himself together, and he's just sort of mumbling in nonsensical, not even words, just nonsensical mumbling.
Give me 1 second.
Nedra, I don't suppose you have a band-aid.
Yeah, there's a full first aid kit just over there.
Carla, you're certified, are you not?
Well, when I was in the Girl Scouts,
just get the fucking kit.
Why did you put it on your resume if you're not certified?
Doctor, I'm gonna need you to stay with us. We're gonna need you, Doctor. Can you hear me?
The doctor looks like he's fading.
While I'm kind of hovering over the doctor, would like to stick my sneaky little fingies in his jacket and try to steal that spike that he's got on him.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, so give me a acting under pressure.
Yep. Let's see. What's my coolness? All right. You know what? Because I have one left, I'm going to use my last advantage on this.
Okay.
Please check the message. Chat message.
That's a 16.
You go to sort of find it, and as you're kind of very subtly searching his pockets, you realize it's clutched in his hand.
Am I with it enough to notice that she's fishing around in my things?
Yeah, I will say, go ahead and give me a read a person, which is your roll plus intuition. You are wounded, which will give you a penalty.
Yeah. Do I have any advantages, Creep?
So we have 2 advantages in the community pool.
Ooh.
I think we should use them.
So if you would
I'm
like
gonna
to use
steal
one of
one.
those, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you have a one penalty on your roll.
Okay. That's going to be a 14.
Right, so that's with the penalty.
Yep.
Wow.
Those read a person.
Yeah, I'm just going to check what a 13 gives you. You can ask one question. So you can ask a question about, like your question could be, do I see what she's doing, for example?
Okay. So it's not like asking her a question, it's asking a question about the read. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, do I get the sense that she's trying to nick something off me specifically?
You get the feeling that she's going through your pockets. You can't tell why she would be doing that. Like you can think she's trying to steal your wallet or something, like you can think she's trying to steal, but this thing won't tell you what her intentions are. It'll just tell you what you notice, which is that she's clearly going through your pockets.
Okay.
You do anything with that, or?
Not yet.
Okay. So, yes.
Just whenever, but I'm kind of regardless of what Carla's doing. I'm also rifling through the first aid kit, and as soon as I find anything that I think would help, I want to try to.
Yeah. So you find some bandages, some painkillers, things of that nature. So you managed to pull all that stuff out. It doesn't require any rolls from you, but you give him some painkillers, which will negate the penalty that you've got from the serious wound. And then go ahead and give me a acting under pressure, since Kersey, you go through him and you find you deny his spite, and you realize it's clutched in his hand.
Since the good curator Mr. Chase is now trying to bandage him up, I am going to pry this shit from his hand. At least I'm going to try.
Okay.
I did get a 6, if that helps with the distraction.
All right, so you did you got a 6.
Yeah.
So there are consequences. You make a mistake. So as you're bandaging him, you really you hit like the end of a bone that's broken, and it just sends this wave of pain. Doctor, give me a endure injury, and I will say that if you write out the pain, it's not going to distract you. But if you do feel it, I'm going to give you a penalty on resisting. Resisting.
So do I have a penalty to this roll right now?
You roll fortitude. You roll plus fortitude minus whatever harm you have, which is a serious wound right now. So it's a -1 penalty.
Okay.
Plus whatever your stability's at.
Oof. Okay.
Remember, you healed 1 stability earlier, right? I don't know if you took that into account.
Yeah. I went from neurotic to distressed.
Oh boy.
Come on.
I think you started at neurotic, Dave.
Yeah. That's a 13.
13. All right. At 13, you're still standing, but you pick one condition. The injury throws you off balance. You lose something, or you receive another serious wound. I'm not going to do the serious wound, but the injury throws you off balance and you lose something. So yes, you as that pain hits, go ahead and give me Creep a act under pressure roll.
Okay.
I'm like pressing on the nerve of the arm that he's holding the block. I'm like, just a little pressure.
You're like, I don't think this bone goes there.
Jeez, you guys. You're robbing this poor good doctor when in this time of need.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you. I'm just failing at it.
That's a 12 from me.
That's a 12. All right. So you managed to do it. You pry his hand open and you manage to pull it out. However, you must deal with a complication.
No.
As you pull it out, he kind of realizes what you're doing and he kind of reaches for you. And as he does, he pushes it inside your hand, and the pin, the screwdriver part, goes inside your hand. So you take a wound.
Oh, that's bad.
You take a wound as this thing pierces inside your hand. Now you have it, like you're kind of backed out from him. So you have it in your hand, but it's embedded like a good inch inside the palm of your hand.
Well, hold on a sec, because I reach out and grab her with my good arm and pull her and try to pull her back into me.
All right, so you're going to do engage in combat roll, Dave, and Kirsty, you can do a avoid harm.
Yeah.
Davis Call must think we're the biggest group of idiots he's ever.
Right now, he's kind of busy looking for his eyes,
thank God
but now
he's
he's like,
busy.
what the fuck's going on over there?
Children.
That's an 11 from me.
Yeah, I rolled an 8.
You rolled an 8. All right, so you reach out for her, and your attack doesn't go as anticipated. You might be subjected to battle against your target, or pay a high price. You're not really pay a price, except that you're going to kind of fall on the ground. It's not going to do anything. I'll take a hold on you, and
I'm just gonna like pull myself across the floor. You bitch! Give me the Vox Animist. It's mine.
Doctor, settle down.
Davis is like, "What the fuck is going on over there? We just fucking got you out of that shit. Now you're trying to kill each other." He comes over and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing on the ground? Get up!" And he grabs you and he kind of pulls you up. It's like, what the fuck is this? Jesus! Sit the fuck down. You're bleeding.
You should do what he says, Doctor.
The doctor just kind of like stops and just kind of lays there, just breathing heavily as he continues to bleed.
All right,
Still, nobody has successfully patched him up.
Well, Davis looks
No,
at.
I did. It just was complicated. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. Is he patched up?
Yeah.
6.
You rolled a 6. No, like you made it worse. So you're in terrible pain, and Davis looks at Nedra and he goes, "I don't fucking know who you are, but if you know this guy, help him." And she's like, "Yeah," and she grabs the kit and and then Davis looks at you and goes, "Fuck, you're bleeding now. How'd you get hurt?" Kirsty.
Oh, me?
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm like in the process of like kind of scrambling backwards, but I'm also trying to rip this thing back out of my hand.
I will say that you can rip it, but you will cause yourself a wound.
Turn it counterclockwise.
Oh. Yeah, it is a corkscrew, isn't it? With it in like embedding in my hand, do I feel anything different? Is there any like sort of sensation that comes with that other than the obvious pain of it embedding into my hand?
Do you take the time to kind of focus on it rather than try to pull it out?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's in there. I'm
You stop and you kind of focus on it and you can almost feel it vibrate in your hand. And you get a glimpse of this room on Albert. And on that
Oh, Jesus Christ.
bed, you see your sister. She is tied to it, and there are these weird sort of metal clamps that are encircling her chest and her neck and her legs. And there are a group of what look like surgeon, but they're kind of deformed and sort of all screwed, and they're wearing like surgical gear, and some of them are doing some machinery and doing some tests and looking at computer readouts, and one of them is inserting a needle inside her neck, and you get a sense that she's not very far away. And as this thing is kind of vibrating in your hand, you see her eyes open and she looks directly at you, pleading for help. And you can see her for the first time, and you see how much she looks like you. She's grown up, of course, and she looks almost identical to you, like just the same. And she looks at you with her pleading eyes, but she's got like this metal thing across her face that's preventing her from doing or saying anything. And the weird kind of creature surgeons that are working on her kind of notice her look, and they start to look towards where she's looking. What do you do?
As they start to look my way, I feel like I would realize what I just did and what's happening, and I'm gonna like very quickly try to start unscrewing it from my hand.
All right. You'll manage to unscrew and sort of pull it out at the end with kind of panicking a little bit. You'll do yourself a wound doing it, but it comes out and blood sort of squirts out. And this thing vibrates in your hand and then slowly becomes still.
So, question, since the wound is in the same place, it still counts as 2 different wounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just tore out more, you just did more damage to it.
Okay. As soon as I come to, I ignore whoever had just spoken to me entirely, and I am stomping over to the doctor and kind of towering over him, and in a very accusatory tone, I'm holding the Vox Anima and I'm saying, did you know she was here the whole time? Have you seen her this whole time? Did you know?
The painkillers are starting to kick in. Doctor, you're feeling a little nice. A little softer on the edge.
I'll just kind of look up at Kirsty as she's looming over me. You know it. You know it. You've always known.
Known?
Yes.
What are you talking about? Known what?
She was meant to be here just like the rest of us.
Son of a bitch. And she's just gonna backhand him with her free hand.
You take the hit and kind of go back. Davis kind of pushes you back. He's like, all right, he's the only doctor we have, and right now he's almost dead. Don't fucking finish him off, all right? And the Nero, who's bandaged you and is doing a pretty good job, goes, are you okay, doctor?
Perfect.
It's good to finally meet you.
Yes. It is good to be here, finally.
I thought there were more of you. Where are the rest of your friends?
Who the fuck are you? And how the fuck do you know him?
I may be able to help there. This is Nedra. She's affiliated with an organization known as Earth and Salt, is that right?
That's right.
And Jesus Christ, Nedra, I think I now know how you were able to procure so many unusual objects. Is this where you live?
Sometimes, yes. And again, when she's speaking with the voice of Hera from the AI from the headquarters, the building.
And is there any particular reason that your voice sounds identical to the artificial intelligence that runs the tower?
Hera is one of my facets, yes. I think you probably have a lot of questions. I don't know that we have a lot of time if we want to reach your sister, but we'll need to find your friends. I'll have some people looking for them. In the meantime, if you have questions, I'll answer what I can.
I have an important question, Nedra. On the way here, through the gate and down the road, just a little turn around a big pile of garbage, I think I dropped something very, very important. Do you believe there will be a point in time where it might be safe for me to go back and retrieve it?
Safe to do anything in Metropolis is always a question mark, Mr. Chase. You can see a picture of Nedra on the NPCs tab if you want.
Perhaps later you can help be a lookout when I go to retrieve this item. You do that for me.
I don't think you should go out there again. What was this thing that you lost?
It was a genuine Elmer Knowles radio hypnotic crystal.
There's no such
Not
thing.
one of the glass ones, one of the metal ones.
There's no such thing. It's a hoax. It's a fake.
But it is a focus, and I have used it to read auras, to
You've done that on your own. You perhaps thought you needed this thing, but it's fugazi. It's a fraud.
Are you calling Professor Elmer Knowles a fraud?
I am.
Does track with the research I've done on that. Perhaps we shan't retrieve it after all.
You don't need it.
Nedra, you're the voice of the computer. You've somehow been, it appears to me, communicating with our injured doctor here. And you know me from way back in the antiquities trade. Who are you?
Yeah, I'd like to know the same thing.
I'm simply an agent. I am in service of someone who has an interest in breaking down the walls of the prison that you all find yourselves trapped in. The good doctor here knows about this. I serve an Archon named Malkuth.
Malkuth. I turned to Kirsty. Your parents served this same Archon.
They did.
Who is he?
I didn't know them myself personally, but I knew who they were.
Is Ether an entity like Malkuth?
Yes, Kether is also an Archon. It's very long and way too complicated. I'm afraid that with everything, all the strain your minds have been under already, it would be perhaps a bit too much, but the only thing I guess you might need to know is that there are several Archons. A long time ago, there was someone I guess you might call a god, the Demiurge, who created everything, and he had agents, angels who worked for him. When the Demiurge disappeared, they decided to take the power for themselves, and well, now they mostly spend their lives warring against each other, and the only thing they're mostly unified in is keeping humans prisoner inside the illusion.
But not Malkuth.
Malkuth seeks to destroy the illusion. Malkuth believes that humans should be free. They should be able to remember who they are and what they can do. You are essentially being used as nourishment by the Archons and the Death Angels, who feed off of your powers you don't even remember that you have, and the illusion keeps you locked away, and they keep you obsessed with needless things and earthly things and distracted, and thus the world continues. You're in Metropolis now, the original city upon which all other cities in the world are based and built off of.
This
is precisely what my research hoped to achieve.
The doctor's research is very important. Him and several others like him are doing vital research that is every day helping weaken the illusion, helping weaken this prison wall that keeps you all shackled.
Well, 3 cheers for mad science.
Malkuth has several agents. Many of them are like the doctor here. Others find other ways to serve, such as myself.
Well, enough with the pleasantries. We are looking for Emil Arcand. Do you have any idea where he may be here in Metropolis?
Yes. He is very near where your sister Julia is.
Is he alive?
In a manner of speaking, he managed in the moment before his death to traverse here, since he had the the visage on, and it gave him the ability to step through into Metropolis. He managed to do that and was rescued and saved. He is weakened, but he is here. He is, I think, interested in trying to finish what he started on the other side. Fortunately, the only one who's available to him here is your sister.
He is attempting to ascend.
His mind is shattered. He has gotten a taste of the power that Kether offered him, and he has come to realize exactly how much power and what divine beings human beings really are, or used to be in any case. And, well, let's just say that Malkuth is interested in helping him achieve his goals, but perhaps not quite in the way that he wishes to achieve them.
Malkuth wants him to become more powerful?
We want him to achieve his goal, but we don't want him to be around to enjoy it once it's done. Every enlightenment, every awakening that occurs is one more chink in the illusion, so we'd like to take him to that edge and then just pull the rug out from under him, but before he actually manages to gain any power from it. That way, two birds.
Why, when you say that that's something you want to do I hear your words saying that that's something we must do?
I have absolutely no way of forcing you to do anything. I would assume that Kirsty here wants to rescue her sister. It is very possible that to do that, you will have to contend with Emil.
My sister spoke of someone, an eater of gods. You know what this is?
That is a story perhaps for a little later. I think you've heard enough now. More would just confuse you and weaken you, and you need to be strong. But I will tell you this, your questions will be answered. Now, if you want to save your sister, we can help you. We have a vested interest in this. The good doctor, of course, will want to partake, as I think the good doctor is perhaps interested in himself ascending and growing into a new role under Malkuth, an awakening of sorts, achieving your true potential.
Here to serve, boss.
If the rest of you are interested, we can help you, but getting to your sister is not going to be easy. She's in Kether's citadel, and, well, those who are not followers of Kether don't find it easy to get into the citadel. There's an entrance hidden in the Black Labyrinth. However, it's only accessible to non-followers through a place called Club Prospero. We would need to find an entrance to it. And once we have that, go through the club, whatever happens there, confront whatever sordidness is bound to occur there, and find our way to the hearts of the labyrinth. And there, perhaps, be able to rescue your sister.
Just take me to her.
We'll just need to do a little bit of detective work. Try to find the entrance to this club. I'm sure. This is the GM reminding the players that you know where that is.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Sorry, you can find this thing, but you have the address.
Oh, it's like an address for Metropolis?
Yeah, there's a corresponding place.
Okay. Well, if that's at the top of our mind, we'll share that. We believe we have an address.
You do?
Yes.
If I remember correctly, in an email. Isn't that
Well, we
right?
know that Wojtek Cherny found this place through Mexico City.
What you did have is, in that long list of things that the detective working for Emil had undergone, and I'll send you the link for it again, but
We have a password and we have an address.
yeah, so you went through that whole thing, right? Finding the different paintings and the different books and all that. And then at the end, he had gone to the last place he'd gone to. The last address turned out to be an old hotel entirely lit in yellow. A phone was ringing. When I answered, a voice spoke in German. It said, "The beauty and mystery of this world only emerges through conflict and transgression of flesh, nature, and morality. Open your eyes wide and actually see this world by attending to its colors. And remember, death is only the beginning." And then it said, "Prince Prospero invites his chosen hale and light-hearted friends to experience all the lights nightly. Lichtenstrasse 66. Password, Weiss." Which is white in German.
We will share that information with her.
Well then, it saves us a lot of work. I know exactly where that is. Will you all be coming then?
And suppose there are any good restaurants between here and there in Metropolis?
If you're hungry, I think I have like a Cliff Bar here. Half a Cliff Bar, sir. I already had a couple of bites earlier, but it's the peanut butter banana one that you really like. I'm sorry, we can just cut the part where, and she's like trying to...
Break off the part where your mouth touched. It's fine.
Yeah, here you go, sir.
Thank you, Carla.
Where are we going? We're going to a restaurant?
We're going to a club named after a character from Shakespeare.
I think you're wrong. Because it clearly said Prince Prospero invites his hale and hearty friends, and that's from Edgar Allan Poe, the Mask of the Red Death.
Fine, but Prospero
majored
is
in
from
literature.
the Tempest.
Sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. It can be both.
Is he coming with us? Because he's got guns and he's pretty good.
Davis Cole? Yes, for sure. Yes, he will be with us. Speaking of weapons, I don't suppose, Nedra, you've got any extra?
Oh, one of the things about Metropolis, Mr. Chase, is that you can find literally anything you want.